Hey, what is good, YouTube? What is good, PlayStation Nation? I am Gaming with Persona, one of your hosts for What's Up PlayStation podcast every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. And oh boy, do we have a really good show for you guys today. And we have a great show and an even greater guest. I can't wait to hear the guest's thoughts and whatnot. But first and foremost, I want to shout out the PlayStation Nation or the PC Nation. Which one is it? Which one is it? Is it PlayStation Nation or PC Nation? We don't know. But listen, man, we are going to make the best of this show. We are going to give you guys a really entertaining show, trust and believe, like it always is every Saturday. Really appreciate everybody being here, the day ones, the early birds, right? The people that are going to listen to this later, the lurkers, all of you guys, we appreciate you all. And I just want to start off by saying the wow. The wow. I gotta give up the wow. Okay? Because man, oh man, has it been a crazy week for news. Has it been a crazy week for gaming? And wow. But before I get into anything, right? Before we get into anything, we gotta introduce the panel. Because without the lovely panel, this show would not be what it is. Right? So first I want to introduce the other half of What's Up PlayStation Podcast. Remember, guys, What's Up PlayStation Podcast is a two-man team. It's Persona and Bari, or Bari and Persona, depending on who's hosting that week. It's a two-man team. So the other half of What's Up PlayStation Podcast, my boy Bari in the building. And Bari, yo, you've been on a podcast tour this week, man. Like, hey, yo, you've been on tour this week, bro. But it's so good to have you here, man. Say what's up to the people.
Yeah, man. Yo, my voice is kind of, my voice is kind of screechy a little bit. I don't know what's going on, man. But yeah, like it's funny too because I haven't really podcast like that in like 3 weeks. But the day that I begin to do it again, hey, you want to be a guest? Want to be a guest? Want to be a guest?
You have been on a serious tour. I love it though. I watched every show.
Oh no, it was fun.
Was really entertaining. Yeah, it was really entertaining, man. But introduce yourself. Say what's up to the people, man.
Yo, what is up, guys, man? Jay Bari here. Second half of What's Up PlayStation podcast. You know the vibes, man. It's going to be a good show today, man. We got a great show planned out for you guys. A lot of PlayStation news, the good, the bad, the ugly, the disgusting, but we're going to talk about it. You know what I mean? We appreciate Chandler Wood for coming through as well, man. It's going to be a great show, man. Let's get it. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest this week. Okay, someone that I highly respect in the gaming community, in the game journalism world. I respect his opinions and his thoughts when it comes to gaming, especially PlayStation. You understand? A very good person in the industry, and he's also the senior editor of PlayStation Lifestyle PSLS.net. The one, the only, Chandler Wood. Chandler, please introduce yourself to the people.
How's it going? Hopefully everybody can hear me. My mic's working now. I was having some technical difficulties this morning because, it wouldn't be a podcast without technical difficulties, right?
Oh, trust me, for the past 3 weeks, we've been having technical difficulties. So trust me, yes, we understand.
Oh yeah, but this week, it's been. Monday was like we're sitting down, the news writers were kind of writing out. We're like, man, it's another slow week. And Tuesday started, and the whole thing was just downhill, uphill. I don't know. It was an avalanche, a snowstorm, whatever you want to call it. It was just so much news all week long.
Yeah. This has been
you guys been busy over there, man. PlayStation lifestyle. I see
that. You and your team, y'all have definitely been busy. And me and Bari have this running joke where whenever he's the host, because we alternate host weekly. Like I'll be a host one week, then he'll be the host. Whenever he's hosting, he always gets the best news weeks. It'll be E3s and new announcements and trailers, and I get the scraps. But this week, we on top. So listen, man.
This week was like the cream of the crop right here, man. You got like the week of all weeks here, man.
I love it. But listen, Chandler, it's really good to have you here, man. I know it's Saturday, and you could be doing plenty of other things. But I'm glad that you're here with us, and you took some time to be with us. So thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, of course. I love talking PlayStation. Love talking with you guys. The Last of Us spoiler cast we did back in the day was great, and then back when we did Persona Speaks. Yep.
Our interview. Yeah, that was really fun. And for those that don't know backstory, I met Chandler way back in PSX 2014, which was their very first PSX. We were waiting in line. I was looking at the 20th anniversary PlayStation. He was taking pictures, and we just hit it off, having a conversation and whatnot. And the rest is history. So, shout out to Chandler, man. Really good dude.
Man, you heard the way he said PlayStation experience. We ain't had one in like
2 3 years
going on out here, man.
Hey man, listen. I mean,
the game's going to PC though, but you know what? Let's continue.
Between that last year and this year, I can understand not having a PSX, but before then, I'm like, come on, man. Like that was such a good showing and so good for the community. But let's get into it, right? So let's start with the games that have released this week, right? Because there's a lot of good releases this week, right? So for the PlayStation this week, we've had Azure Reflections, Blastful, Curse of the Dead Gods, Death Tales, Horned Knight.
Yo, did you DM me about that game right there, Persona Horned Knight?
Hell no, I DM'd you about that P5 Striker. Persona 5 Strikers, Taxi Chaos, which I'm not gonna lie, that Taxi Chaos looks kind of nice because who doesn't love Taxi Driver not Taxi Driver?
It looked like Crazy
Taxi. Yeah, it was Crazy Taxi back in the day, and they said it takes a lot from that as well. So, I kind of was tempted. The wallet was open a little bit, wanting to grab that. But Taxi Chaos, we were here together. We were here too.
That's the continuation, if you didn't know.
Active Neurons 3, Heavy Metal Machines.
Let's go.
Pumpkin Jack. Retrace Memories of Death. Werewolf Apocalypse Heart of Ruin. Now, this is not the Werewolf Apocalypse games that released a couple weeks ago. It's made by the same people, but it's more of a telltale telling of a story because it's specific to. They're in like this rainforest area. It's not like hack and slash like how the Werewolf Apocalypse games is. It looked pretty cool though. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what? I think they're good. I think they're not gonna buy that game.
Aerie, A Journey Beyond Time, Angry Video Game Nerd Wanted Deluxe.
Let's go.
Yo, these game title names are great. Bite the Bullet, Gods of Amalgast. Might Fight Federation, NASCAR.
Oh, that game was pretty cool though. Might Fight Federation. No cap. It looks really
Is that
looks
like
like a fun little beat 'em up like joint. It's like you can versus people to it. Look cool.
it's like boxing?
Nah, it's they could fit like a Streets of Rage, or it could be a 1v1 kind of game as well. It's
Okay.
like a cartoony type game. It looks pretty cool.
Got you. Ping Redux, Spooky Chase, The Five Covens, The Lost Cube, Torok,
Or like a Power
Tor-
Stone, yeah, like a Power Stone.
Torok 2 Seeds of Evil, Jupitergrad, Assault of Metaltron, Bobs,
Oh
Mausoleum.
shit!
Hold on. Hold on. Let me start that over.
All Babs. Ba-
Baobabs, Mausoleum Grindhouse Edition. Blastful.
that game sound evil. Like
Yo,
that's
reading it is evil, so yeah, I
yeah,
can definitely.
like some kind of cultish worshiping kind of thing. Over there.
Yeah,
Go ahead, continue. My bad.
Blastful, Dungeons and Bombs, Katana Kata, Lin Path of Orchards, The Child's Sight, and Thunder Flash. My God, what what a week.
What a
So
week, man.
yeah, that's
Yo,
that's a lot of
low
games.
key,
That's a lot
you
of
skipped
games.
over it. I don't think you caught on because I know you was clamoring or you was hoping for Torok to come back, but Torok is back. You know, everybody that wanted
Hey,
Torok 1 and 2. Nah. This. No, I've heard you said it before. Like, yo,
no, no,
where's
no.
Torok?
No. The
Torok.
Torok, no, the Torok that I was speaking of was I like the N64 Toroks, but I'm talking about the Torok from PS2. That's the one I like, where you had that pterodactyl mission that you had to fly over the waterfalls and do all that crazy stuff. I forgot the name of that Torok. That's a Torok
We don't want to
I
hear
wouldn't
that
mind
now.
having. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, now
The Nintendo
Torok.
64 Torok is good too, but I'd rather have the
Torok
PS2
one
Torok.
was on a PlayStation. Y'all go and cop that. Y'all been clamoring for a new Torok. Y'all said y'all wanted Torok. They gave you a remaster of a port of Torok. That
Um,
game is garbage. I'm sorry. That franchise is
again the Nintendo 64 talks are okay, but I would have preferred the PS2 one. I forgot the name of it. I only remember that pterodactyl mission because I remember I was flying around everywhere, and I didn't go to the mission area. I just kept flying around because it was so fun. But yo, all right. So now we're in the spotlight portion of the show, and Chandler, what the spotlight is for us here on the show is you can provide a game, let the people know about a game that you think they should check out, and it doesn't have to be a brand new game. It can be an old game. It could be a game that might be coming out, later that you think, oh, people should pay attention to this. It could be a game that you're playing right now, right? So we'll start with you, Chandler. What is your spotlight game for this week?
Oh man. All right. I guess we may talk about it a little bit more with the state of play going over that, but I recently got to play a few hours of Knockout City, that
Nice.
multiplayer dodgeball game, which
Mhm.
I mean, it's pretty cool. I thought it was gonna be kind of this dumb little multiplayer thing, entertaining for a little bit. Kind of how honestly I feel about Destruction All-Stars. I know you're digging Destruction All-Stars, but for me, I burned out on it way fast because I don't know, there's just not a lot going on for it to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But Knockout City was a blast. It's a ton of fun. This little, I don't know why it's so much fun or what's so unique about it, but rather than using like third person shooter mechanics where you kind of have to aim, it auto targets the ball, so it's more like a fighter or like a brawler where you've got to use your positioning and your timing in order to catch the dodgeballs, and you can turn into a ball yourself and roll around, and your teammates can pick you up and chuck you at enemies, and it's so much fun. And I think they're doing a really cool, unique idea with that, and it's coming from the people who made the Mario Kart Live home circuit, the actual little RC cars that drive around and do Mario Kart. The same team that made that is like, all right, what are we going to do next? Oh, let's make has anybody done a game about dodgeball? No, let's do that.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I mean, who doesn't love dodgeball, right? I remember back in school, whenever I had gym and it was dodgeball time. Oh yeah, I was hyped. So I can definitely see myself when I looked at it at the state of play. It was definitely a cool game. It looked like something I would. It looked very pick up and playish, But I also know me, and I know with those types of games, I'll actually burn out on that type of stuff pretty quickly as well. Like I'll be into it like a week, maybe two, and then I'm just like, all right, it's time to move
Yeah.
on, you know. So I do see the excitement for it, 100%. That's a good game, this week. So Knockout City for Chandler. Bari, what is your spotlight game for this week, man? I think I
Yeah,
already know
my
what it is.
spotlight. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it because my spotlight is gonna go back to Yeez 9 Monstrum Nox. Yo, I'm on the final chapter of that game, and yo, let me tell you, yeah, Yeez games always have like a crazy like plot twist, like when you get to the later chapters.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, I'm trying to tell you guys, this game, you guys are gonna enjoy it. Like this is probably one of the best Yeez games I've played. Um, Story wise, character wise, is amazing. They really up the ante here with part 9, man. And if you guys haven't played it yet, I recommend this highly. I highly recommend this game, yo. Go and get Yeez 9. The game is amazing. The combat is amazing. One thing I also like is the cast of characters. Yeah, the main character can carry a lot of things. Even though Ado is more like a silent protagonist, he's got a little bit more wordy as as the series progressed. But uh the supporting characters, man, in Yeez 9, amazing, yo. I love each one of them, man. And I'm telling you guys are in for like a roller coaster ride with this game right here, yo. The story is better than 8. The combat better than 8, and 8 is a great game. But yo, I'm telling you, if you like 8, if you like the past Yeez games, you're gonna love this game right here. 9, amazing. I can't say no more. I don't want to spoil it because I want people to actually enjoy it. But yo, I'm trying to tell you, go play Yeez 9, yo. It is an amazing game.
Yeah,
It's
no,
an
Yeez
amazing
9
game.
is Yeez 9 is definitely. I love it. It's so fun, and the story really is. It's good because I like how each with each chapter, you get to know one of the new characters that's eventually going to be a part of the team, and you understand their dilemma and why. You understand why. Like once you play through that chapter, you begin to understand why they became a monstrum. Like why Aprilis chose that specific character. You get it. Like with well, I don't want to spoil nothing, but with Hawk, seeing, understanding his background, and seeing why he became one of the hieroglyphian knights. It makes sense why he would be chosen as a monstrum, because despite his attitude,
They say you
he's.
low, Persona. They say you low.
Oh, they say I'm low. Oh no, that's no good. Let me up that gain a little bit. Listen, I'm trying to still master this focus right, and share a combo. So, that might be my fault. Let me up myself a little bit.
On our
Um,
end, you
yeah,
sound
but
perfect.
I
But
think for them I gotta speak closer because the sure I can't be off to the side. I have to be directly in front of it in order for my voice to really project, super high. So, yeah, shout out to y'all. But yeah, Yeast 9 is a great pick for me. Can I break the rules, Chandler? Bari, can I break the rules this week? I know we only supposed to give one game, but I really want to give two. Can I break the
we
rules
are
this
we are
week?
we are
It's
known to break the rules.
it's your show. Break all the rules.
Break the rules. All right, all right. So for me, my spotlight for this week and top of the list, and I need every person in this chat to already have this game pre-ordered. Understand? Kena Bridge of Spirits. Listen. Y'all already know how hype I was for this game. Seeing that new trailer and getting to see more gameplay and seeing a little bit more of the world and actually hear people talk now, right? You're hearing people talk and you're getting a little bit of the backstory, just little bits and pieces. That Kena Bridge of Spirits, that's going to be a magical game. No pun intended. That is going to be a very, very magical game. And, I already pre-ordered it. As soon as it went up on the store, it was a day one. It was a day one. I don't know what else to say. Kena Bridge of Spirits. I want those developers to get supported. Shout out to Ember Labs. Hopefully we get them on the show one day. Kena Bridge of Spirits. I want those developers to get supported. Yes, because they are putting in some serious work. They're really, in tune with the community. They really replying to people and they talking to people and they're really doing a good job. The two brothers, and the game looks phenomenal. The game looks phenomenal. I support Kena Bridge of Spirits if you want. If you like how the game looks, if you like how it sounds, what they're showing and whatnot, and it's $50 for the deluxe, $40 for the standard edition. Not a bad price. I support it. All right,
The game looks amazing, man. Like, yo, yeah, I don't know. I don't know Ember Labs, but what they're doing is top notch quality, man. I don't know how short or long the game is going to be, but I'm there day one.
I remember them saying a while back that the game can be something that they're building the game to be something that you can beat in a weekend. So maybe 15 hours, if that.
There's a lot of Ni no Kuni too.
Oh yeah.
In the game, like with the squigglies,
with the rocks.
How you can control. Yeah, the rocks and the squigglies are kind of similar. You know what I mean? In my opinion, from what I'm looking at, like how you can strategize how you want them to attack in battle and all that stuff. It looks like you're gonna be doing the same here.
Yeah, and then her combat looks to be really fun as well with the parries and the makeshift bow with her staff. It's really dope. So Kena as well.
The only real criticism I have for the game, my bad, I'm cutting you off too. The only real criticism I have is like the run animation. I feel like they could do a better job on her run animation, but other than that, everything looks amazing.
And if you're watching the show, you can see that we got the new trailer playing in the background while we talk. Oh, of course. How what do you think I'm a fool? You thought I was going to have that new trailer playing in the background while we do this podcast today? Oh no. Then the second game, which is going to lead into our thoughts and impressions, is Outriders. This demo is free. You can download it right now. You don't have to pre-order the game in order to play the demo. You can play the demo. Anything that you do in the demo will transfer over to the full game. And really, they give you a good vertical slice of what you can expect to play. It's really the opening, the start of the game. Like, in a couple missions after some side missions, you get a couple of the powers and things like that to get a feel for each specialized class, which is the Technomancer, which is the long range. Then you got Pyromancer, which is mid to close. Then you've got the what's the Trickster? You got the Trickster, which is close range. And then you got now I said I was going to choose Technomancer as my first class, guys. I ended up choosing Devastator because when you first can choose your power, I saw that tank. When I saw a tank, I was like, oh yeah. That's whenever I play role playing games or MMOs, I love being a tank or a healer. That's what I love. Those have always been my favorite roles. I've never been someone that would want to be a DPS because DPS, I don't know, this in a group, they're only good for damage and nothing else. A tank, you need to pull aggro and all. Like, I don't know, I feel like you do more of a job when you're a tank or a healer, and the team relies on you more, right? It's pretty good, right? But Chandler, did you play Outriders? The demo?
I have not played the demo yet. It's been such a busy week. I haven't even had a chance to hop on. Honestly, I'm not even sure I've got enough space on my SSD to even download it at this point.
Oh yeah, we gonna talk about that.
Man,
I'll tell you this because I know you and I both are hardcore Destiny fans. It ain't no Destiny killer. I'll tell you that. Like, how like a lot of these looter style games, they come out and it's a Destiny killer. Nobody's killing Destiny because as far as I'm concerned, and I feel like you can agree too here, Destiny has been the only one out of a lot of these service-based looter style games to get it as close to right as possible. Would you agree there?
Not just as close to right as possible, but also willing to adapt and make the big changes needed to keep it flowing really well.
Yes. Yeah. They've shaken up Destiny so much, especially with the sunsetting and everything. This game, I don't want people to go into this game thinking, oh, it's a Destiny killer, it can replace Destiny. No. For me personally, no. Like I never
why we always do that with video games, man. Let's play the game for what it is.
The everybody Halo killer, the Destiny. Yeah.
That's what. But that those conversations are coming up.
It's not a first person shooter, man.
I get that, but the problem is it's a looter. It's a looter shooter, so it's always gonna get picked compared to what's the best on the market.
So what? Is Destiny. Is Guilty Gear being compared to Street Fighter V because it's a fighting game?
No.
Exactly. We playing it for what it is. You know,
Yes.
when it comes to these service-based games, everybody keep doing the same crap. Yo, is this game gonna be like Borderlands and Destiny? Like, yo, shut up. Yo, just play the goddamn. Is it fun? Do you like it? You know what I mean?
I think that's the exact problem with a lot of these types of games, though, and like why something like Anthem kind of fell so hard is you have this expectation going into it, and you know BioWare's in there, and they're getting pushed from EA and everything to make this game that is the Destiny killer. And how can you both make something that's creatively your own game, but also this game that's supposed to be the same as but better than this other game that already has a whole community built up? You know, at this point, Destiny's been running for what, 7+ years?
Yeah.
Like, has a whole community built up. So of course, Anthem's not going to be great if the team's not allowed to. It had the seeds of a lot of things that were really great, but it was forced to be something that it wasn't because they were trying to. That's the problem. I agree that we need to stop looking at games and going, oh, this is going to be the blank killer, or the blank killer, or the blank killer. The only thing that's the blank killer is something that you don't expect to actually be that. You know, it's not going to be shown from the very first trailer that, oh, this is you know, looking at like Genshin Impact or something like that. Nobody said, oh, this is going to be the Breath of the Wild killer, but it's got a lot of
Nintendo haters out there,
Wild,
though.
and also completely does its own thing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that 100%. And looking at Outriders, you know, I went into the game with an open mind, not looking at it as, oh, it's a killer to this, it's a killer to that. Because I was excited for the game, right? This is the second service game coming from publisher Square Enix. It's from People Can Fly. And if I'm not mistaken, People Can Fly made Gears Judgment. Someone in the chat will correct me on that.
It
But I
made
believe-
Bulletstorm.
Bulletstorm, yeah.
They made Bulletstorm and Gears Judgment, or was it just Bulletstorm?
They made Bulletstorm and Gears Judgment.
Okay.
So yeah, they made both of those.
They made both, right? Okay, so you know that's definitely something where I'm like, you know, I'm interested because I do like Gears, even though Judgment wasn't as strong a title as the main lines. You know, so I went into it with like, yo, man, this looks good. It looks dope. It looks like something that I can see myself playing, right? So when playing, you know, going to the demo, playing it, I enjoyed it. It's a demo, and I'm gonna let the team know too. I'm gonna let them know that, you know, there's definitely some things that need to be fixed. There's too many cutscenes, right? Like you can walk into a room, and you know that's the cutscene to set up the next mission. You'll walk out to the room, you'll run to where you need to start the mission, and there's a cutscene to open the door. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Just open the door and let's go. But there's a cutscene to open the door. Then when you get to a specific section, there's a cutscene to let you know that there's enemies coming. Like I don't know. There's too many cutscenes happening where I'm just like, what is going on here?
Good, bro. Like that's my biggest critic. The cutscenes execution is bad. The facial expressions is horrible. What's that girl that you meet in the beginning of the camp? I'm like, yo,
Shira.
is she? Yo, she got plastic surgery. She can't even move her mouth, bro. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, the game looks rough in a lot of regard. Where
gameplay looks better than
yeah, the cutscenes definitely look rough. There's also voice sync issues.
Oh
where
yes.
The subtitles will be like 2 or 3 sentences ahead of what they're saying, or their mouth won't be matching how the words are coming out, or it'll actually like do like a deja vu type of thing where she'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm on it, boss. I'm on it, boss." Like it's like this weird skip, and I'm like, "Yo, what the?" Like I thought it was my TV or something, and it was really like, you know, things like that. Yeah. Like, did you experience that too, Barry? Where it was just like,
oh yeah. I'm on it, boss. Everything you experienced, I experienced, man. But overall, though, I'll say I like what I'm playing. Like, I feel like the gameplay is good. There's certain things I would like them to add just to speed up the whole cover mechanics. Like, add a slide button between running from cover to cover. It's generic as hell. Like, you can't really do anything. You know what I mean? Other than holding the X button and, you know, shooting. Like, they should have a slide just for, you know, movement options that you can have to avoid bullets and stuff like that. But I don't know if you probably get that later, you know, within the whole game. I don't know. But right now, when I'm playing, I wish they would add like a slide or you know, the vaulting could be a little bit better or faster. It just feels a little bit too slow.
Yeah.
But I do like the abilities. I picked the trickster. You know, you give me time abilities. I don't give a damn. That's who I'm picking. You know what I mean? And I like the aspect of they giving you an incentive to use your abilities because that's how you kind of heal up.
Yeah.
Which is cool. The gunplay feels pretty good. I didn't really have no complaints on the gunplay.
I love the gunplay, man. Like the gunplay, it feels very Gears-ish and like very I feel at home, like Uncharted Gear. Like it's the gunplay, and you know how I am, Bar. You know how we are about gunplay in games that's centered around gun mechanics. The mechanics and the fundamentals, they feel like they're there. They feel tight. Now, small gripe, right? Because you know, I play on high sensitivity with these games, but because this is a third-person shooter, you actually have to play on a lower sensitivity because you're seeing so much more of the screen, right? Even when I lowered my sensitivity to like 3 or 4, it still feels, sometimes when I'm aiming in, it still feels just a tad bit loose in certain areas where I'm like, yo, man, I'm behind cover, I'm trying to shoot, and it's kind of like, oh, side to side, then you got to kind of like reposition and really get in on the enemy. But it's not anything that's like would take you out of the immersion or take you or game breaking for me or a huge.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
This. I know this is a demo, but this is the first game where I didn't have to adjust any settings as far as my sensitivity or anything like that. They had it right from the default. Whatever they gave me, it felt good right there. Normally, I would have to, change it up, but I didn't have to change up anything here. Like the speed, I like the speed. Like give me the options to look fast. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's going to slow down when you're aiming, but I can look at things fast and assess what's going on. I like that.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that 100%. Like we said, guys, Outriders demo is out now on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. So for you non-PS5 owners just yet, you can still play the demo and enjoy the game because this game is a cross-platform title.
And the best thing too. It's the best thing, Persona. My bad. The best thing is that we don't have to play that god awful tutorial again if you're gonna buy the game.
Yeah,
everything transfers. Yeah, bro. I was like, yes.
That tutorial, like the gun stuff where like you had to do the hologram and all that. I'm like, all right, whatever, because fine.
Yeah,
that whole forest area, I didn't like that. But coming back, that was really fun. We had to kill Maxwell. Because you turned on that part. I like. And that's another thing. This story looks like it's gonna be pretty cool too. Because she was in cryo for 31 years, and they landed the mothership, which is not a ship that's supposed to land. And now it's like this war and chaos and all this crazy. I want to see. They're definitely in the right ballpark with this story. Personally, it really looks really interesting.
It's a lot of comedic value in it. Like it don't really seem like it's too serious. They're not taking themselves too serious. Like even your character that you're playing as, like he's in a serious mode, but he's cracking whips and jokes. I'm like, all right, bro. Like
yeah. I mean, we might be looking at another Immortal Phoenix on our heads, when it comes.
It remind me of Bulletstorm kind of thing. Like Bulletstorm didn't really take itself seriously like that, but it was like a serious kind of game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was just goofy and fun and over the top. And also, I have to call out, even though I haven't played it, the visuals and the visual styling and the it really seems like, I not a killer of Destiny, but like a gritty Destiny is almost how I describe it. I look at everything and I'm like, man, that looks like Destiny armor, but really gritty and rocks and bones and leaning into like almost the same Ahamkara theme that some of Destiny's armor and weapons have, but going really heavy into that. And I love that heavy, gritty, grounded look.
Yeah, no, you can tell reviewers is going to eat this game up because they're going to get on the aspect of how the game is not as open as it is. It's kind of corridor kind of because you see all these lush worlds, but then when you load into the actual game, it's a corridor. It's a pathway. It's not like you can traverse over here or do this over here, and then you it's pretty much predictable when you're gonna get into Battlefield. because that area opens up a little bit wider. I can see reviewers like chewing this game apart because of that. I didn't have an issue with it personally, but I can see people chewing it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the game is fire. The game is fire. I definitely like the armor and stuff like that as well. I definitely think it's pretty cool. But like like I said, it's PS4, PS5, also on other consoles as well. And it's a free demo, guys. Go play it, see if you like it. I'm gonna pre-order the game. This definitely sold me on it. I definitely want to see more. I want to see more of the story. I was looking at a lot of the skills and moves, and it really looks like being able to mix and match and really build out your character. It looks really good. So. Yeah, that's Outriders impressions, guys. Check it out. Check it out. But yo, let's get into this news. And first thing we're gonna talk about is definitely this Destruction AllStars, right? Because we know that Destruction AllStars was really, it came out in February. It was a hit for me personally. It was a hit, but it was very bare bones, right? There was a lot of things missing. There was a lot of issues with the party. There was a lot of issues with getting into matches, getting out of matches. If you had a party, and you tried to do matchmaking too quickly, you would get stuck in this infinite loop, right? But Lucid Games, they are really sticking to this game, and they really are trying to build this game up to be a really content-rich game, which I can really appreciate, right? So the news came out this week that Lucid Games, they gave us pretty much a roadmap of what content we can expect to see, right? So February, we have the Double XP weekends and the Genesis Challenge series. March, we have the feature playlist, Mayhem 8 versus 8. Also, you can bring a party in to do the 8 versus 8. Thank you, God, okay? This is the mode that I have been wanting for a long time. Mayhem 8v8.
People in the party?
Yeah, you can. So you can have, I don't know if you can bring 8 people in a party, but I'm assuming they just mean party as in like, your party of 4 can now go into, kind of like how it was before. So now they have Mayhem 8v8, right? Which I think is a huge plus. It's pretty much TDM. Featured playlist stockpile. Double XP weekends will be happening in March as well. Blue Fang's challenge series will be happening in March, and 10 new skins. In April, we can expect to see the featured playlist Carnado Solo, meaning you do not have to have a team to go into Carnado. Like, it'll be everybody for themselves type of thing. So essentially, think of it as Mayhem, but Carnado. And we all know that Carnado is where you got to get kills to get the gear points, and then you drive your car into the middle to destroy the car to deposit the gears. Essentially, it's going to be a solo version of that where it's only you. There's no other teammates. It's only you and your gear points. That's pretty much kill confirmed. That is going to be so much fun. I can't wait for that. Double XP weekends again, and then a few more surprises, right? These are the unique skins that they're speaking of that you can expect to see. This is for Ultimo. 7 new events, 2 new shouts, epic emotes, things of that nature, right? And then the challenge series, they pretty much say the challenge series are single player experiences based around AllStars and their rival. It features cinematics at the start and the end in which you get to get to know a little bit more about your AllStars interpersonal relationships and rivalries. Each event has additional challenges on top of their win conditions, giving you reasons to go back and play again for extra rewards, right? So Chandler, I want to start with you. I know you burnt out on Destruction AllStars fairly quickly. Is this enough to get you back?
Honestly, I mean, some of it will depend on what the skins look like. I looked through a lot of the unlocks on there, and they all were just really palette swaps. There weren't any really interesting skins for any of the characters. Now, I have to go back and mention in my review of it, I did say that this is one of the most stylish, like hyper-produced games I've ever seen. The production value on this game is immaculate, and I have to applaud Lucid Games for what they did on the development of this game, because I think just the style, the characters, all the little details, just absolutely incredible. But I don't know, it's for me the gameplay it's dumb fun to me, but it's not enough for me to sit down and like really grind out unlocking skins and doing all that stuff. It's more a game that I would pick up and play a few matches here and there and kind of put it away. There's nothing that I really want to actively play or grind for.
Mhm.
And then again, with the limited space on the SSD, it's just it was one of those games that got kiboshed when because as I'm reviewing games and they're coming in and
Things got to get deleted.
things got to go. But then also like, okay, Destiny's not going anywhere. Sorry. I have a group that I regularly play like Cold War Zombies with and Warzone with, so those two aren't going anywhere. And there's more than half my hard drive.
So
Cold War.
Cold War, like almost 200 gigs.
It's 170. So yeah, it's ridiculous. Christ. And then Warzone is like 130 even without the Modern Warfare campaign, but it requires like 107 gigs free in order to even download updates. So even beyond what I have on my system, if there's a 17 gigabyte update to download, you have to have 107 gigabytes free to download and install that update for. It's stupid. Yeah. But so that considered, that's one of my big considerations with games. Like, okay, what's worth keeping on my hard drive and not needing to re-download in the future. And I'm just not seeing anything on here. Maybe this stuff would be cool if I already had it on my hard drive, if I had a solid state, if I had a big enough one to keep it on there kind of on the back burner till stuff came up. But I don't know, the game still, it has a lot of potential, but I'd like to see a lot of interesting, completely new, different modes. I'd like to see some of the stuff from the challenge series actually come through to the because I don't know if you've played any of the challenge series stuff, but they've got a lot of interesting stuff in the single player section where you're doing like taxiing other characters around and all these little tasks. Bring some of that into the multiplayer, because right now the multiplayer, each mode is like basically the same thing with a few slight tweaks.
Yeah.
Again, it's fun enough. It's exciting, ramming cars into each other and seeing them explode. And
no, I definitely get that. The other thing to add too is, because I know a lot of people were saying that, seeing the game in its current state right now, it wouldn't be worth $70, right? They couldn't see how this game was being charged $70 last year for pre-order. And a lot of you will be happy to note, I know a lot of people were wondering, once it's out of Plus, what's going to happen with the game, like for people that wasn't able to take advantage of it during PS Plus. Well, you'll be happy to know that the game is going to be made available for digital purchase from April 6th. So once April 6th comes around and it's officially out of the PlayStation Plus lineup for that month, it will be made available for digital purchase for $20 US, $29.99 Canadian, and $19.99 European. Euros. I don't know if euros or pounds. I forget the symbols. But that's pretty much going to be a price, right? So for the whole, it's not worth 70 crowd, there you go, right? Bari, what's your thoughts on this stuff, man? Like, how are you feeling about Destruction AllStars and its content roadmap?
Yeah, I mean, Destruction AllStars is a cool game. Like, the only reason why I'm not really like grinding or playing it like that is because it's not on my priority list to play. You know what I mean? Like, I've been playing Yeez, then Guilty Gear Strive Beta, came out. That was all I was focusing on. You know what I mean? But I think the game is still a good game. I think the game's a good game. The game hasn't been out a month yet. Where I would like them to have more modes as well. Like more, like different modes, but for the modes that they do have, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty fun. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to online play, it's not like you're gonna be having the same type of gameplay every game, because everybody played different. It's very dynamic, interaction that you're gonna have between other people playing online. My biggest gripes though is when I see this roadmap, I didn't see anything for private lobbies. I think that's a big miss that they're not capitalizing on, because yes, it's cool to play online with random people as well, but there's times where People just want to play with their friends, like a private mode. You know, let's play Cardnado. Let's get the community together and play Cardnado. You know what I mean? That would further along the game. The customizations, they said they added more customizations, but I think they just need like some cool skins in there as well. I didn't really see the skins, but if they can upgrade that as well. I didn't see anything as far as like a new character or guest character in the roadmap, even though they only doing like 3 months as a roadmap.
But I'm sorry to cut you off. No, let's touch on that, because this is a PlayStation game, right? Where's Atreus and Kratos? And every time they hit somebody with their car, he goes, "Boy, what are you doing?" Like, where's all that quirky? Because this game doesn't take itself serious in that regard, right? It's really meant to be this high intensity fun, where not intensity, but it's high quality fun, like, because the game looks and runs beautifully, right? And it's not really meant for you to, and I don't mean this in a bad way. It's not meant for you to really think too aggressively about how you need to approach the game modes. It really is a game that you can just pick up and play and like really be on autopilot. And where are those special characters of Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, a Spider-Man car, and all this stuff? Where is that stuff? Because I feel like putting that stuff into the game would definitely breathe some new life into it in terms of pulling in more players, keeping the community active, adding those special things.
Crazy. This game shouldn't be having having anything to breathe in. I agree with you 100%. What I'm going to say is going to seem like I'm not agreeing, but the game came out on Plus. People should be already playing it. People who's not playing the game for whatever strange reason that they have, you should at least be trying the game out. There's a lot of people that's not even playing the game, and it's out on Plus. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying with the guest character, I'm not expecting a guest character or a new character 3 months down the line, because I think that would be kind of crazy, in my personal opinion. But with a roadmap, I would like to see like 6 months down the line. Yo, I'll be looking 8 months down the line. Like, give me a roadmap, not with 3 months.
Well, I would have wanted to see at least one guest character in the initial launch, just because it's a PlayStation game, and just to give it that. Yeah. You get what I mean? I'm not saying it's got to be this whole slew of characters every month. Not at all. But again, one of the most popular. How cool will it have been to have Nathan Drake and his brother in that vehicle, in their Uncharted 4 Jeep, riding around, or Chloe and Nadine in the Jeep from Lost Legacy riding around, bursting in? That would have been their special car, and it would have had a rocket on the top or something. Something special to just give it that PlayStation oomph. You get what I'm saying? That
fragrance. Yeah,
like that's all I'm asking for. You get me?
Well, while we're talking about character too, the game has a lot of character, right? You go through each one of those individual characters you can select, and they're all hyper stylish, and they're all
different
and diverse, and there's like this really, really cool selection of characters that you can choose from. But then they don't really ever interact with each other much. Like during the matches, I haven't noticed, maybe there is some of that in there and it's just something that I didn't notice, but I want more like dynamics between the characters and call outs between them. And you got like Overwatch, where the guys over at Blizzard are crazy about how much they've got these character interactions between each other. And if you've got two characters in a match, there's unique voice lines between, like, Mercy and Torbjorn or something like that, and based on their relationship and their story and everything. So like do some of that with this too, and make it that could add some of that interesting character to each of the matches, where, okay, so the gameplay gets a little same old and bare bones after some time, but in addition to the online gameplay that gives you some of that dynamics, do some dynamics between the characters based on who people are picking, and have them shouting to each other and having these voice lines. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah, I agree.
You really get that. They do say things within the match, but it's not towards each other. And the commentator, you hear that with a commentator. Oh, Lupita doing this to whatever.
I gotta shout out the commentator. The commentator be on point with his call out. The commentator's really good.
Oh yeah.
I really like the commentator, but I do agree with you, Chandler, that there needs to be. They would definitely like if you ram into, and I don't want to, it doesn't got to be R rated because the way I am, if this was a mature rated game, when you ram into somebody and he goes motherfucker, like that would be funny. But this is a rated everyone game or a teen, so when you ram into somebody, you be like what are you doing, stupid, like stuff like that, like that funny banter like that would definitely keep it lively and funny, So I agree with you 100% on that. That's a good one to point out. So yeah, Destruction All Stars new content, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't downloaded the game already, download it before it leaves out of Plus. I don't want to hear anybody on Twitter. Why is the game $20? I shouldn't have. Listen, it's on Plus for 2 months. Go download it, and it's in your list.
Really and truly, this article right here, it seems like they just want to tell us something just to tell us something too, man. Because look at the list. Look at the things that they're listing off here. Like March, I get March. But April, feature list Carnado solo, which it sounds great. Double XP weekends, a few more surprises. Like, who are you talking to, bro? Like that you're not. You know what? Let's continue, man. Go ahead, bro.
I get what you mean.
About to get angry Bari out here.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean, man. I gotta hit the laugh on that one. We all laughing, right? Because PlayStation the topic, y'all gonna want to stick around for this topic. Just trust me. Anyway, moving on. This is really, it's as much news as we've gotten for PlayStation this week. It still was a weird week with how the news came out, right? So the next news that, really should be like a monumental announcement, it didn't feel that way. Like I was excited, but then I'm like, I'm not excited as I would have been if this was an official showcasing of showing us at least a prototype, right? Or something like that. And what I'm talking about is the next generation of VR, right? This came out Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday morning? Monday or the 23rd was Tuesday, right? It came out Tuesday morning, right? It was a slew of news, right? And early in the morning, this came out, and I was excited, like one door in, one door out, because I'm looking at it and I'm like a PlayStation logo and a wall of text. No, like prototype. No, not even a prototype or a look at the controller. Like, why was this? Why was
and
this?
It was a small wall of text too.
Yeah, it's like you had to zoom in. Like I'm gonna zoom in right now so y'all can see this because y'all can't see shit.
Let's go back to Destruction All Stars. I was gonna lead off with lazy announcement. Just like announcing just to announce.
Yeah, I'm just like, what is this? Right.
When they officially announced the VR, they had the VR system there, the showcase, the headset. They had the move controllers there where you already had move controllers, but we actually saw the headset. How you gonna be like introducing the next generation of VR and you have a black PlayStation picture with a PlayStation symbol there and nothing?
Because that was rushed.
You're just talking just to talk, man. Like, they need to get it together, man. They need to get it together, This is a lazy ass announcement, and I'm pissed because I'm a huge VR fan.
That's what I'm saying. And I would have rather them wait till the summer until they could have shown us something, because you're not showing us nothing. A big wall of text, and look, I enjoy to read. I enjoy reading, right, to a degree. But come on, like you're not showing us nothing, right?
Yeah, so, I'm excited too. I'm excited for it, but like, it's a lazy announcement, man.
This Bari, Chandler, this is how hungry I am. They could have just shown us the singular cord that would be used. I would have been happy with that. Like, just show me the single cord. I'd have been like, all right, cool. We can see that it's a HDMI or whatever the case is. You ain't even giving us that. But let's get the details out the way.
Bro, so they could have showed the patent prototype. You even had to show the mock-ups. They didn't do nothing,
that's what they did.
Bro.
That's what happened with the PlayStation 5 with this big ass V shaped, in which I was worried that was gonna be how the console looked. Thank God it's not. But man, oh man, that people were just talking for months about that, right? We literally have nothing here, right? But let's get the details out the way. So it's gonna be a next generation PlayStation VR that's specifically going to be built for the PlayStation 5, right? It's going to be taking advantage. It's going to have enhancements to both resolution, field of view to track the field of view for tracking and input, and it will be one singular cord. So not that, if you have PSVR for PS4 like I do, Bari do, Chandler, I'm not sure if you have the PS4 VR or if you've tried it. I'm sure you've seen and tried it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You got to have the little box. You got to plug in everything into the little box and then plug it into the PlayStation and then plug this into the. It was a mess. But PSVR, you got to crawl before you can walk. With PlayStation 5, it's going to be one singular cord to simplify the setup and improve ease of use while enabling high fidelity visual experience. As well as with the innovations of the VR controller, you can expect to see DualSense features within the PlayStation the next gen VR controller, and also see great ergonomics, and they're future-proofing this technology by kind of getting ahead of the curve with some of this stuff, right? So, Chandler, I want to start with you again, man. Seeing this, and again, this wall of text, I'm already falling asleep, right? Chandler, reading this, seeing this, how are you feeling about this?
So from a the games journalism side, that perspective of it, I get why they did this, because as they're sending it out and as they're sending out pitch decks and everything to developers and getting people on board with this to get it going, there's going to start to be a lot of leaks. There's already been leaks and rumors from the patents that have been going out and all of that. So it is basically to put it out there to prevent leaks, rumors, and speculation. They're basically going, yes, next gen VR is coming. And then they sprinkle in those little details like, yes, it will be a cabled VR headset. What I really wish they'd done is not used so many just marketing buzzwords like higher resolution and better frame rates and all that. Tell us what your goals are for this headset. Why are you making this headset? Are you trying to make it inside out tracking, or is it still going to use the PlayStation camera? Things like that you're just wondering what are your goals? What are your design goals with this? What are, we took this feedback from the original PS4 PSVR and we're pulling it forward to this, and this is what we're attempting to do. And you can even say things like, none of this is completely finalized yet, but here's what we're working on, and here's what's in development, and here are our goals. Look at how, again, we talked Destiny and Bungie. Look at how Bungie communicates the future of what they're doing. And they kind of say, here's where we're at, here's what we've learned, here's our goals going forward. Some things are subject to change, but here's this on the table. And I wish there was a little bit more of that rather than just like, all right, better VR is coming sometime, not this year. Talk to you later.
That's really what it was. I agree with that. Bari, what do you think, man?
Yeah, like I said, I'm excited for the next generation of VR. Like I love VR games. I think PlayStation VR was something special as well. Yeah, the setup can be a little bit overwhelming, but once you're in there, the experience is something that it brings a different aspect to gaming, right? But I'm excited for the VR too. But like I said, I just feel like this announcement is very unlike PlayStation, especially if you look at them from the past on how they're marketing and how they announce things was such on point when it comes to PS4. And, just looking at PS5 is just like, yo, bro, what the hell are you doing? You're announcing the next generation VR, not showing it. Half of these people in this community don't read anyway. You got to put some pictures. You got to put some pictures in that motherfucker and be like, yo, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. You know what I mean? You're talking about a controller. You're talking about one cord setup. Most of these people, they're not even reading that. You know what I mean? It's going to take a podcast for people to even understand it's a one cord. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or it's going to take Nabillion for him to post some pictures. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yo, come on, man. This is a bad job, announcing something that PlayStation is trying to take very seriously, right? They're the market leader in VR. They're announcing their next VR. We don't see the VR. Yeah. And then you're going to hate us at the end of the article talking about, This ain't coming out in 2021. We'll let you know more news next year. Like what is this, man? Like yo, what is going on, man?
Oh, man.
But yeah, I'm excited. I get what they're doing, but it's just not. It's not PlayStation, man. It
It's
doesn't feel
sloppy.
PlayStation.
It's sloppy.
Yeah,
Like I just personally feel like it's sloppy. Like I would have wanted, and I read the articles. I want pictures. Like I want some pictures.
exactly.
I want something that's gonna draw my eye to it, because just seeing the PlayStation logo, everyone's not gonna click that. But if you see PlayStation VR prototype, oh shoot, let me click that. What's that? Oh, shiny. Like like
Oh,
I
this
want
looks
some
cool.
pictures. Yeah, this looks
You know what I
cool. I want to
mean?
pick it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
the new controller? Oh, you having a new controller? Oh my God. We don't have to use the Move controller, which by the way, the Move controller is great, but we want something new when we bought the VR. Oh, now you're gonna have a new controller? Oh, you're not gonna show us? Okay, next article.
I'm gonna compare this to Bungie and Destiny again, but the recent like Destiny State of Play, where at the very end of it they were like, oh, by the way, here's some prototype, concept images of armor that's not coming until the Witch Queen comes out in 2022. So it's a year away. They're showing us concepts for armor that they're releasing in the game in a year. Like PlayStation, you can be like, and here's a tease, here's some concept of what we're working on for the controller. Call
Exactly.
out that it's a concept, whatever you want to do. You don't have to show us the final designs, you don't have to have everything ready to go, but like engage with the community, like have that back and forth conversation and hype them up, rather than just this feels again like it was something just to get out ahead of the leaks a little bit and just say, hey,
Mhm.
yeah, it is coming. So if you see some things like leaking out of development studios, like, yes, this is true. But otherwise, like, okay, back into our cave, and we're not going to talk to you for however much longer about this. And that's kind of frustrating to see, like you said, given how PlayStation and Sony have been in the past about really engaging with the community.
Yeah, like
Yo, Chandler,
it's-
so they did an article like a couple of weeks ago, right? It was excitement for the upcoming games for PlayStation 5, where they had the developers come in and talk about it, right?
Mhm.
These developers can't even talk about the games anyway. Like it was such like a bosh up article. Like, what are you writing it for? You have developers come out and say, we cannot wait for Guerrilla Games to release Horizon 2 Forbidden West. No shit, Sherlock. That we're saying the same thing too. You're not giving us no new insight of what developers are talking about with the game. It was such a
it's a PR article. It's a PR job. You know,
yeah.
they
I
trying to
can't, y'all can't
they trying to save face.
it was such a bad article, man. Like what you wasted your time gathering developers' thoughts on telling us nothing. There was no new insight here, nothing. This is what everybody on Twitter ourselves is saying. You're saying the same thing. We can't talk about this, but we're excited for Horizon Zero 2. We can't talk about this, but this game looks cool. Can't wait to play it. Yeah, that's what we're saying too. We want more insight on the. You know what? My bad, man. What's up, everybody, man? Welcome to
Bari's bursting at the seams because he's trying to get to this topic. He's firing himself up for this topic. So keep that energy, please. Keep that energy. I'm begging you.
Yo, bro, you honest, we DM, all the time. Yo, I'm just tired of like this new PlayStation marketing team. It's definitely new because they're not.
Yeah.
It's like, you had a working formula done with a PlayStation 4. The marketing was on point. You know what I mean? People saw an article. Oh, I'm getting what's going on here. These articles that's coming out is just like, it's pointless, man. It's pointless.
I
You're not really getting no information anyway. It's just pointless.
I agree. But let's talk about this play at home initiative real quick. So the folks that play, for those that are wondering, PlayStation is going to be continuing the Play at Home initiative, and essentially for those that don't know what that is, the Play at Home initiative was something that PlayStation launched in 2020 at the height of the pandemic to get people to stay home, but also to provide entertainment for those that were dealing with the shelter-in-place orders. So PlayStation had released a couple of games for free. You didn't need Plus, you didn't need anything like that. They were free. The games that they released were Uncharted, Nathan Drake Collection, and what was the last one? I forgot the other one.
They did this like last year, right? I think.
Yeah. They did last year. So they're redoing it this year, right? So this year, starting March 1st, PlayStation and Insomniac will make Ratchet and Clank, the 2016 game, the remake, Ratchet and Clank, available for free to download for a limited time. So for those that want to play the game or haven't, or want to get something for free, that is something you can do. And once you redeem the game, it will be yours to keep. So again, you don't need PS Plus, you don't need anything like that to take advantage of this benefit. It is strictly just a game they are making free for everyone for the Play at Home initiative. And then starting March 25th, our friends at Funimation will be extending access for new subscribers to Funimation or Wakanim in countries they are available. And for those who don't know what Funimation is, it's pretty much an anime-focused subscription service where you can watch a ton of different, animes, Yashahime, Naruto, whatever. So if you become a new subscriber after March 25th, your access will be extended beyond what the normal time frame would be. Also, to point out real quick, for those that are in other countries, when Nathan Drake Collection was made available in regions except for Japan and China, users in Japan and China, they received NAC 2 instead. And Funimation, on top of the standard 14-day trial, new users can get the additional 90 days. So if you do a 14-day trial, it's 14 plus 90 days. After March 25th.
What about existing users, man? Subscribers. What's going on, man?
You already got it. you already got the service. You don't need it. You already got the service. So these, I do appreciate this initiative and them going ahead and being proactive with that stuff. So shout out to PlayStation with that. Let's talk about these PS Plus games. PlayStation Plus games for March. Now let me tell y'all something, because I had to talk about this week as well. I was predicting that Kena would be the March PS Plus games. I was way off base, right? But a prediction is just that, a prediction, right? With that being said, this looks like to be a pretty cool list, right? So the March PS Plus games are going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake PS4 edition, Farpoint, which is the PSVR game. Now, Bari, you play Farpoint, so you'll be able to tell me. Do you have to have the gun controller to play the game in VR, or can you use a regular controller?
Nah, you need a gun. The gun is going to give you the best experience for that game.
Okay.
And that game is amazing. I think they gave that game away free already. I'm not too sure, but Farpoint is pretty much one of the best VR games, in my opinion. PlayStation VR games. It's a dope ass game, man. Definitely go play. And it has some like challenges stuff that you can do. That's pretty hard. Yep. It's a dope game. Story is good too, man.
It's co-op too, right? If I remember right, you can go in and
co-op stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And then the PS5 game for this month is going to be Marquette. And then the last game is going to be Remnant from the Ashes. Marquette.
Yeah,
remember that game they shown at the September showcase where Marquette was this what you did in one world affected the other. I remember seeing that. Yeah, well, that's what it is, Marquette. That's gonna be the free game. It's from Annapurna. Annapurna been pumping out. Man, these people like not go to sleep or something. Like these people have been pumping out games like crazy, man.
How much people's in their studios? Like how big is their studios? Cause they pump out a lot of games.
Bro, they got like 6 or 7 games like on the horizon, like within this year coming out. It's ridiculous. But Chandler, starting with you, man. PS Plus, how you feeling about it this month? Real quick, let me read the fine print. Real quick, Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? It's not because, and we'll talk about this when we get to the state of play news, but there's going to be a free PS5 upgrade for Final Fantasy VII Remake. PS Plus members that download the PS Plus version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, you do not get that PS5 benefit for free. You do still have to buy the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade Edition. So if you download this Final Fantasy VII Remake from PS Plus thinking you're going to get a PS5 upgrade for free, let me hit the denied.
Denied.
It ain't happening, all right? You're not getting... No, It's not happening, right? But Chandler, starting
Yo,
with you, man.
are we gonna go deep on that too?
On what? On the Final Fantasy VII talk?
Gamers are wild. Chandler, go ahead, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
Oh
ahead.
no,
Yeah,
no,
yo,
you're good. I assume we'll get there when we get to State of Play.
yeah.
We'll go through the
State of
wall
play is
of
next.
uh, all the Final Fantasy VII stuff. But it is a solid month. One, I'm really confused why the month was delayed announcing everything until Friday instead of Wednesday like they usually do.
Yeah.
That was a little weird. But I mean, you have to consider that in addition to the 4 games that they just announced, Destruction AllStars is also still free during March.
Yeah.
So that is 5 games for free on PlayStation Plus right now. And 5, I mean, pretty big games. We're talking Destruction AllStars, which is a brand new PS5 exclusive multiplayer game. We're talking Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I could just go on days about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, shit.
So, that's an amazing thing to add. No excuse now for anybody not to play that.
Done.
And I think Maquette looks really cool. Again, like Annapurna, the stuff that they bring to the market is just really unique and interesting. They've in the past they've been stuff like Edith Finch and just really unique games coming from them. And I don't know much about Remnant, but cool. You've got this whole buffet of games in front of you on Plus, and sure, I've already got a lot of them, but it's still. I was amazed. I did not expect such a big month.
Yeah, it's a solid month. Bari, what's up? How you feeling about March?
I think it got delayed a day because they were still trying to work out giving the best game to ever come out on the PlayStation 4 to PS Plus members in March. And I mean, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake was like a last minute thing, or just like something that they was in works in, but it finalized like, oh, it's not Thursday, because they could have easily announced that while they spoke about the PlayStation the State of Play Final Fantasy news, but later. But yeah, I think it's a great month. Like I said, the best game to ever come out on PlayStation 4. You're getting that on PlayStation Plus. There's no excuse now. I don't want to hear nobody talking about they haven't played this game yet. I think you're crazy if you haven't played this game yet. It's legit one of the best games to ever come out, and you have no reason not to play it. Subscribe to PlayStation Plus, and you have it. For those people that want to get the PlayStation 5 version free with a PlayStation Plus subscription, I'm sorry, you're not doing it. How dare you even think like that? You know what I mean? Like, yo, you didn't buy the game. You expect people that bought the game, getting the free. Oh, that's understandable. They getting an upgrade, which Square, thank you for that. But you didn't buy the game at all. You waited until March 2021 to finally get this game through a subscription service, and you expect to get the free upgrade in June as well. You are a piece of But anyways, other games is good as well. I've seen Sick Humor and like Jemai. I've seen them play Remnant Ashes. It seemed like a cool little game, like a co-op. Remember that zombie game, like the Sniper Elite series, but they had like a zombie spin-off thing. I forgot what the name.
Zombie U or
not Zombie U, but the sniper series. With that game where it had like a zombie kind of spin off. It reminded me something like that.
Zombie Army.
Yeah, Zombie Army trilogy. Yeah.
It reminded me of something like that. The Remnant, the Mark Creek game. I don't remember that game. And what else they had there as well?
Farpoint.
Oh, Farpoint. Yeah, I think that's one of the best games that PlayStation VR has to offer. So, the value is amazing when it comes to PlayStation Plus. The value is even amazing if you have a PS5, because not on top of you getting all these games, you're also getting the PlayStation Plus subscription. You know what I mean? Not subscription, collection. So you have this. If you're a PlayStation a subscriber, you just have games galore to play. It's the best deal right now in gaming. Well, which I've been saying for months upon months in gaming. But yeah, man, I'm excited, man. Like personally, my favorite game on PlayStation 4 generation. People can get to play that now without whatever dumbass reason they had to not play the game. They can play it now through Plus. So I'm sorry, I'm roasting them. Yo, if you haven't played, if you didn't play Final Fantasy VII Remake last year, yo, and even when the game was on sale for like $30 last year or this year, yo, you got to be one of those. You know what I mean?
You definitely. Yeah. I'll say this, like, because Bari's a Final Fantasy VII fanboy. I'm more of a 12, but I did love 7 back in the day. This Final Fantasy VII Remake it's a must play. It's a must play. Like you gotta play this, man. Like it really they knock it out of the park, man. And it's such an emotional roller coaster, and the combat is so fun. The boss fights are so much fun. Like this game is just really good, and there's no reason why you can't play it. Like you could, it's free. Go play it, right? This March list is pretty solid. I mean, I'm not going to replay Final Fantasy VII Remake just because I'm waiting for the PS5 version. When the PS5 version comes out, I'm going to replay it at 60 frames, better textures and all that. And hopefully with the PS5 version, it's a separate playlist. I mean, trophy list. I'll get that platinum again. And then Marquette and all that stuff. Marquette looks interesting. I watched the trailer, rewatched it just to jog my memory. Marquette looks really good. And, I'll definitely try it out for sure. Farpoint, listen, man, my VR been in the closet for like 2 years, man. I'm gonna have to dig that thing. I'm gonna have to dig that thing out, man.
Yo, bro, really, truly, I'm surprised you didn't play Farpoint. That game is, the story is gonna set you. It's
funny. I got the gun too. When the game first came out, I had bought the gun, and it's sitting in the closet in a box. Like I never opened it.
The gun is gonna enhance the experience for the game. Like I would recommend you use the gun when you play it, but you don't have to.
I'm using.
But the game is the story gonna put you. It's gonna set you in a trip, man. It's a hell of a ride with a story. And the gameplay is amazing. The bosses, yes. The game is cracked, yo. It's good, yo. It's good for real.
Yeah. So yeah, that's your PS Plus games, guys. Let's get into the state of play. Let's get into this state of play, man, because, again, going back to something that Bari said earlier, and for the games that I saw, right, Returnal, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, the Final Fantasy VII Remake upgrade, and the Yuffie DLC, Deathloop, the games that I saw, Shifu, right, Deathloop, Shifu, those games are really interesting to see, like Solar Ash and all that. Those games are really interesting to see, right? That's why my score, I would put it at like a 7, right? But then the timing of this event, the lack of the re-showings of a lot of games that we've seen, I agree, like that, a lot of this stuff we've seen already, right? And you keep showing this stuff. Like, why did Oddworld need almost 10 minutes of an explanation? We've seen almost 4 times now, right? Why was that needed? But
that's just for the game. That's for the game to be in Plus. You gonna explain the game,
bro? Yep.
Yeah, it's like, why do we need that time? I would have rather that time be spent letting the developers explain Kena. I'll be honest with you, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
But Chandler, I want to start with you, man. State of play. I'm kind of just gonna leave the door open. Just give me your thoughts on the whole thing. Games that stood out to you, what you're buying, what you're not buying, things like that. Give us a score as well. So state of play. Give us your thoughts, man.
So I think the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade that bumped it up to like a solid 8 for me just on that alone.
Yeah.
That was great to see. A good closer for that. Again, you talked about people not reading, but if like people read the fine print kind of before all this, they specifically said there would be no hardware or business news. They specifically said that it would be games in the coming months. So if we're looking at everything here, it's basically things that are coming out within the next 4 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of low key set all those expectations in place. But honestly, I would have loved to see like next gen PSVR. Okay, so scrap the announcement on the PlayStation blog from Tuesday, save it for state of play, and throw that in there somewhere near the end. Even the same details they gave us, the same kind of nothing details they gave us on the blog post, if you add it in as part of the state of play, suddenly it elevates the entire show.
Yeah.
So all you say is, yes, we're working on a next gen PS5, PSVR. It's going to be a single cable solution. It's going to increase your resolution, everything, blah, blah, blah. And we'll talk more about it to you. It's not coming this year, but we'll talk more about it to you at some point in the future. Boom, you're done. And it's part of the whole state of play show. Do that instead of putting out this like tiny 3 paragraphs of text on the blog and just going, yeah, here you go. You know, like the ways that you can announce these things. And then also being a lot more clear about, again, just what to expect. Like I said, if you read the fine print, people would know that it was just games that were coming out within the next few months. So it was really unlikely that we were going to see Horizon. It was really unlikely that we were going to see anything about God of War.
Mm-hmm.
But make that extremely clear. Like, okay, this, like, seriously, this is games that are coming within the next few months, and that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on how you went into it. But going into it for me, starting off with Crash Bandicoot 4 was a little weird. I mean, I get it with PlayStation's relationship with Activision, and Crash Bandicoot 4 is a great game, and it'll be cool on PS5, but there wasn't anything really new there that was unannounced. We already knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Returnal looks amazing. Sifu looks really fun. Knockout City, I already talked about that one. Solar Ash looks really interesting, and I want to know more about that. But again, it's one of those ones that I'm not necessarily super hyped for. Five Nights at Freddy's, whatever. I mean,
I was thinking the same thing when I seen it. I'm like, yeah, this could have been out the show entirely.
Never been exactly my jam. Oddworld Soulstorm again looks cool, but like you said, we've seen it a whole bunch of times before. Why did it need a whole 3-4 minute segment in the show? Kina looks great. That was a great new trailer. Deathloop, the trailer and theme song were really cool. And then again, of course, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade was a great way to close out the show. And for me, that really pumped it up a notch there at the end. I'm hoping this is the beginning of kind of a resurgence of the State of Play broadcast, though, because we haven't had a good, solid State of Play for a really long time. And I'd love to get one of these every, you know, even if they can lower the expectations of these and give us one every 3 months or so that gives us updates for games coming out over the next 4 to 6 months, that would be a really cool thing to see. But they need to set that pace first.
Yeah. No, I agree. Every 3 months I think is reasonable as well, because you figure within a 3-month time span, we would be looking towards the future anyway, which would be the next 3 months. So the State of Play can serve as that midway point of what you can expect for the next 3 months of that year, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I get that. I like that a lot, actually.
That loop.
Bari, because I know you itching to talk about Final Fantasy, that's a separate. Like, we're gonna, after we talk about.
Oh no, I'm not even gonna talk about it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we'll go into Final Fantasy, but just on State of Play itself, right? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. Oh, like I said, I really like State of Play. I like the design. I like the structure of State of Play. I think it's a great show of what PlayStation is doing. I agree with Chandler. I would love to see this more frequently. You know, every 2 months, 3 months. I'm totally for it. You know, I even if it's a smaller showcase, that's totally fine. I'm not saying that you can't show indies or nothing like that. I'm totally with that. My biggest issue with this State of Play is not the outline. It's not how the show was presented to us. All those things was great. It's just more so who curated this goddamn show. You know, you start off with Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. Where you just did an article, trailer just came out announcing the PlayStation 5 version, and here we go again. You kicking off this game again. Listen, I get it. More eyes are going to be on State of Play. I understand it, but it's just for me personally, the hardcore gamer. And I'm not talking about the Jimmy Two Left Feet that's watching. I don't, you know what I mean? I really don't care about the Jimmy Two Left Feet. I'm caring about me, myself, watching it, trying to be entertained, watching this show. It's a miss, man. That's how you start off the show. You know, Returnal, great trailer. I felt like they dropped the trailer before this, the day before this, which, you know, was like more like a story, you know, trying to build up hype kind of trailer. But I feel like this is the trailer that they should have dropped yesterday rather than the one they did before the State of Play. But it looked great. I see some graphical improvements, like her outfit looks a little bit more detailed. Looks great. Sifu, new game. That's a cool announcement right there. The game looks amazing. I can't wait to play it. I like Absolver. I think Absolver was cool.
Absolver, yeah.
I think it's the same people that made Absolver. And it looks good. Knockout City. This is where I was a little bit confused here. Like the game, it looks good. I felt like they did a better presentation of the game rather than Nintendo, because when this game was shown on Nintendo Direct, you know, it didn't really capture me because, you know, it's shown on the Nintendo. No disrespect to Nintendo. The Switch doesn't make the game pop. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Don't double click on a Nintendo Switch screenshot, but it's not about Nintendo. It's about PlayStation, right? You know, everybody that I've been posting on Nintendo, here's my Nintendo Switch screenshot, and you double tap on that bad boy, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Don't do that. But it looks good. The Knockout City game looks like it could be a fun game. But I'm not trying to cross play with anybody other than PlayStation people. I'm sorry. But the Five Nights at Freddy, Jesus, yo. Like I said, who's curating this show, man? Yo, how many times are you gonna show off this game? Every State of Play, every little showcase, you're showcasing this game. I understand it was popular on mobile devices, but we are two different gamers. Yeah, you can put PS5 graphics and ray tracing, all that you can do in this game. I'm pretty sure a lot of people's not excited about no Five Nights at Freddy. I'm sorry. Keep it moving. Oddworld, Soulstorm. How much time? Who is curating this show? Yo, you gave a deep dive for this game every goddamn time. Oddworld been around for decades, man. Just PS1 from what I know this game. We kind of have an idea of how Oddworld is going to play, but yet you keep on talking about you're going to have to imply stealth. You're going to have to do this. We know. Stop talking about the goddamn game, man. Jesus, yo. It's cool that it's coming to Plus, in April. Mm-hmm. That's a good announcement. Leave it right there and keep it moving. We don't need another deep dive with Oddworld Soulstorm. I'm sorry. Kina, this is what we've been waiting for. Got some gameplay, new trailer, looks amazing. We got a release date, August 24th, right, Persona?
August 24th, yes.
August 24th. It looks good. The voice acting sounds good. I like Kina's voice acting. Like I said, I think we were sold in that game, but we just wanted that gameplay trailer and we wanted that release date. We got what we wanted, right? Mm-hmm. That Lou. I like the trailer, by the way. It looks like they upgraded the game as well. Because when they first showed Deathloop, it was more like this it looked more like Borderlands, kind of like a downgrade of Borderlands. But now the cell shaded type thing, it still has the cell shading, but it looks a little bit more realistic from what I seen. It looks really good. But Jesus, yo, we seen Deathloop every single time. Once again, we seen Deathloop.
PlayStation trying to make the most of that money they spent on that game.
Jeez, yo,
to make that shit exclusive for a year, yo, I think they gonna keep showing that. At every
trying to remind you that Bethesda's still a little bit in the PlayStation court, right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah, we got them.
We got this game over here, only over here. So
yo, they got articles on Deathloop. They got they got mad trailers on Deathloop, and here we go, another one on Deathloop. I already pre-ordered Deathloop. I'm sold on Deathloop.
You know what's funny though? Deathloop is like 3 months away still, so it's like,
yeah.
How much more you gonna keep showing us about this damn game? Like,
we'll see more
in March. Yeah, oh yeah.
We'll still see more.
You know what we're gonna see? We're gonna see the launch trailer. We're gonna see the all this crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be a mess.
And then we got Final Fantasy VII Remake, integrate the PlayStation 5 upgrade and Yuffie DLC, which set the show ablaze. Just because of that, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Personally, objectively, looking at this state of play, and just how much regurgitated information that we're getting. Personally, I gave it like a 4 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, not personally, but objectively, I gave it a 4 out of 10. But with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the Kena, Deathloop looks amazing again. Like, I've been sold in that game. Sifu looks good for a new thing. Returnal looks amazing. Like, personally, like, I, as a Final Fantasy VII fanboy, I gave it a 10 out of 10 because the information they gave was amazing too. Like, it went beyond what I expected that it was going to do. Yeah. Square went above and beyond with that, but we're going to talk about that later. Yeah. But nah, man, I love State of Play. I like State of Play. I think it's a great show. Don't stop doing it, but you got they're not.
That's the thing though too. I'm sorry, Coach, because I know a lot of people be saying, they set expectations, which I understand, and I know I see some people on Twitter that say, oh, it's not an E3. This isn't E3, but I mean, even if this was E3 times, PlayStation wouldn't be there anyway. It would still be their own show. So, with PlayStation, I kind of just want to see, the State of Play was solid. It was decent because it had a lot of games there that I want to buy, that I'm gonna buy, already bought, pre-ordered, whatever. It's just, I don't know, man. Like,
Yo, Persona, the article before the State of Play came out, right? They said that they're gonna showcase some of the games that they showing in the
June's, and Horizon was shown there. That's why
I'm not even talking about Horizon though.
No, I am. Fuck that.
What about Little Devil Inside? What about Stray? You keep on showing the same games that we've been seeing from that showcase, but nothing really new.
But that's what you're showing. The same Horizon was there too. We could have got at least a new trailer of seeing Silas bald-headed ass. We could have seen something with that game, something because they said games that were shown at the June event. Horizon was shown there, so it wouldn't be unfair for people to hope or want to see more of that because that's a highly anticipated game that I think all of us here can't wait to play, right? That's my whole thing with that. In terms of the State of Play, I agree. Stray, Little Devil Inside, they shown us more of Solar Ash, which I like because we really got a small snippet. Volcano High, I'm excited for that game. Looks dope. Like, judge me all you want. Volcano High looks dope.
You by yourself over there.
Hey, it's fine. It's fine. I was born by myself. It's cool. Listen, Volcano High. I want to see more of that. You feel me? Like, where are those games? Right? Where are those games? Nah, but you gave us Oddworld for the 50th time. Like, Little Devil Inside looks so unique and looks so dope. I want to see so much more of that. Where was that? Where was Stray? I love cats. I'm a cat person. Right? Where's Stray? Right? We seen a trailer of that and don't know much. You could have gave us more of that and gave us a deep dive on that or not even a deep dive, but just gave us a new trailer to show, like, the cat sniffing some catnip or something. I don't know, scratching up the post, something. I don't know. But, things like that would have been fun, right? And then you could have ended it off. You could still ended it off with Final Fantasy. Oh, you could have Final Fantasy be second to last, and then you could have had the Horizon, just a new trailer showing us the world a little bit more, right? It don't got to be gameplay, right? It don't got to be anything super.
Nah, it got to be a gameplay trailer.
It got to be gameplay. What I'm saying is, it don't got to be a full-fledged demo, right? Throw some snippets of gameplay in there, yes. But a new trailer would have been great, right? Just to kind of, wet the palate, get the palate nice and moist. You feel me? That's all I'm saying. But the State of Play, it's a 7 out of 10 for me. And that's me objectively and subjectively saying it's a 7. And I love Final Fantasy VII. It's a 7 out of 10. So let's move on to this Final Fantasy VII news. We got two big Final Fantasy fans and Final Fantasy VII fans. I'm assuming, Chandler, is Final Fantasy VII your favorite Final Fantasy?
I don't know from an objective standpoint if it's necessarily my favorite, but from a personal, just cultural standpoint, just the way it the culture of it, where it was in my life and my childhood and everything. Final Fantasy VII had played an enormous part of my life. So absolutely, it's it's my favorite Final Fantasy.
I was gonna say, I say it's not to piss Bari off. It's definitely one of my favorite Final Fantasies as well. I always say it's trash around Bari to get him back because Final Fantasy VII is trash.
Listen, I already know the vibes, man. It's the greatest game that ever created.
No, it definitely Final Fantasy VII was definitely a integral part of, I hope I'm using that word right. I might be using it wrong. A big part of my childhood as well. I love that game so much.
It's gonna integrate.
The remake. But all right, so let's touch on the Final Fantasy news real quick. Let me just give the rundown and then I'll get your thoughts. Next gen. So like we said earlier, PS5 the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake has been announced. It is called Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. It's going to have nice shiny graphics, better textures, 60 frames per second mode, and really taking advantage of the PlayStation 5 hardware and giving all the bells and whistles. But on top of that, there's also going to be the Yuffie DLC or episode where it's going to be Yuffie, it's going to be Sonon, and it's really going to be really touching on the side of the Wutai clan and really going a little bit deeper into what was going on when essentially Cloud wasn't around, I guess. Bari, I'll let you take the lead on this one. I just want to give the details before you go. So yeah, it's going to be 60 frames per second, upgraded textures. I'm trying to find where they say it. Okay, so expensive, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so the new features have also been added, including the ability to switch between a graphics mode that prioritizes high-quality 4K graphics and a performance mode that prioritizes smooth action at 60 frames per second. I think all of us here is picking that 60 frames per second because you see how beautiful that game looks? And then, again, they also retouched the game. Graphics wise, the textures, they really fixed a lot of that stuff that was glaring issues on the PlayStation 4 version. It looks brighter, it looks better, it looks a lot cleaner, which is why I just cannot wait to get into that world again on PS5. But starting with you, Chandler, because if I let Bar go first, we're gonna be here till like midnight. So Chandler, let's get you first. Chandler, what's your thought on both the Yuffie DLC, the next gen upgrade, and things of that nature? How are you feeling? Are you gonna buy the DLC? What's your thoughts, man?
Oh, absolutely. It's a day one for me. It's a replay the entire game. In fact, just seeing that made me want to go back, and I haven't quite finished up my platinum on the PS4 version yet, because again, reviews and things generally kind of sweep things down the river for me, and never go back to finish. But I'm almost there. I have the I can't remember what it's called now, but the thing that gives you your limit break immediately and everything, and so I can kind of tackle that before the PS5 version comes out. And PS5 version, I may not even transfer my save over. I may just do a whole fresh playthrough to get my platinum there.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we have to also even talk about, even after the state of play, Square Enix comes out and says, oh, by the way, Final Fantasy Ever Crisis is this chapter-based mobile game that's retelling the entire Final Fantasy VII saga.
In an episodic way, yeah.
Yeah, like the films, Advent Children, all of the games, everything in a whole new way. And then they're like, oh, but that's not all. By the way, we have Final Fantasy VII, The First Soldier, which is a mobile battle royale game. What?
Yeah.
Like, mind blown. And then they're like, oh, and by the way, now the Final Fantasy VII remake original soundtrack is on, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all that. And it's just like, here's all this Final Fantasy VII remake news. Obviously, they're getting us ready for part 2 to come, right?
Yeah,
right. Like
yeah.
part 2 is on its way. You look at the Yuffie DLC, it is it's PS5 only. PS4 players will not get that. There's no way to buy it or play it on PS4. You have to have the next gen console, which tells me that part 2, or whatever they're going to call the next part of Final Fantasy VII remake, is going to be a next gen exclusive. They're targeting that, which makes me really, really excited.
It's confirmed, Chandler.
They confirmed it.
My man Tetsuya Nomura, he had an interview with Famitsu. And go ahead, Chandler. Explain. Go ahead. I'll talk about it.
No, that's really where I was
I
at,
sent it
because
to
that's
I sent it to Persona real quick. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just again, is one of my absolute favorite games of the PS4 generation of last year. One of the things that seriously, I cry every time I see a Final Fantasy VII trailer or gameplay or like
Yeah.
anything. The soundtrack from that, it's hyper emotional to me. And again, I think part of that is just where it came into my life and what it meant to me as part of my childhood and growing up. It was one of the first big PlayStation games that I ever really got into,
Hmm.
and really made me appreciate gaming for what it could be. Um, and so, yeah, to see it just kind of come back 25 years later, basically, is just
Amazing.
amazing.
I want to ask this question. Do
Yeah,
you feel do you feel that it's unfair that the PlayStation 4 Plus PS Plus version, those people don't get the free PS5 upgrade? Do you think that's unfair?
no, not at all. I think, yeah, if you want to go with the next gen version, there's plenty of people that have bought this game already. The people that haven't bought this game, if you bought the game, you get the PS5 upgrade.
Yeah.
And so the people that really like this game have bought it over the last year. And so if you're one of the people that's getting it through Plus next month and you haven't bought the game before now, and you're also complaining that you're not going to get it as a PS5 upgrade, well, did you really even want the PS5 upgrade to begin with? Were you even ever going to buy the PS5 upgrade to begin with? Like, it's
I
you
gotta
know,
give you a round of applause, man. Yo,
Yo, that's a good ass question.
yo,
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta give that man a round of applause, man. Chandler, he's spitting facts today, man. Oh, he's spitting facts.
He
Oh,
100% right.
100%. I agree, 100%. Um, very well said, Chandler. Bari, man, you got the floor, man. You got the floor,
whole
man.
dance floor, the whole dance floor.
Final Fantasy VII fanboy right here, man. You got the floor, man. Yo, break it down for the people in the chat, man. Yo, school them. Let them know what's good with this Final Fantasy VII, bro.
Yeah, man. So as Persona said, Integrated got announced, which is going to be the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, giving you all the bells and whistles that we all. This is the greatest thing about this PlayStation 5 upgrade is that the community, everything that they announced at the showcase, were the things that people were asking for. You know, the better textures, the better lighting, 60 frames per second, 4K. You know, we was asking for those things. Yeah, we also knew that there was going to be like an episode kind of thing that's going to come, like a new like story DLC is going to come. But we were not expecting Yuffie Kisaragi story episode. You know what I mean? That threw everybody off guard. So seeing that, it was ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yuffie is always going to be, second to Tifa for me. But I love this character, Yuffie, man. So just seeing her interact with how she's pretty much in Midgar before she actually meets up with the party with Cloud and everybody else. They cross within this episode, but they don't really like interact with each other. But there's a part in the trailer where they said, should we even interact with those people that blew up the sector, the reactor? And Sonon was like, no, don't react, because there's different branches of Avalanche within the Final Fantasy lore. So Barrett and Tifa and everybody, that's just one branch where a lot of people put them off as like they're the extremist type of terrorist branch because of the whole blow up in the Midgar reactor. But there's there's another sectors of Avalanche which we're seeing here with Yuffie and with Sonon that people interact with. And this is really cool of what they did with this episode is that if you did, like, Final Fantasy is a lot of lore to it, right? But they also released a lot of different things. Like Before Crisis was like a mobile game that came out in Japan that a lot of people didn't play, but it also explained like the Turks background and Avalanche other branches background, where a lot of people don't know, but they use in the remake to consolidate a lot of the story elements within the Final Fantasy VII lore overall. So this is really cool. And if you guys played Dirge of Cerberus, you saw a little deep ground stuff there with the little soldiers with the mask. That's deep ground. That's like a Shinra kind of like secret operation that's going on. And we saw Weiss, he was like the leader of deep ground. We see a little, preview of him. Dirge Service is like the boss that Vincent fought. So we're seeing little stuff like that. Like I said, they bring all of the lore that we went through in other media and games, but they're bringing everything together to consolidate within a remake. That's one of the reasons why I love in a remake.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's one thing that Nomura said as well. He said that with the Final Fantasy remake, what they were trying to do is they wanted to bring everything together. That's why it's being built and created the way it is, because it's not. It really, because when you look at Final Fantasy VII, OG, when you look at Crisis Core, when you look at Dirge of Service, all that stuff falls under the Final Fantasy VII umbrella, because it all started with Zack. So, when you look at that stuff, seeing that, when you hear what Nomura says about wanting to bring everything together under one umbrella, this remake really is a true remake, because they're really remaking the game in the image of how they see based off all three games.
And I'll call it more like a reimagining.
A reimagining, yeah. Remake, reimagining. It's all of that. And I love it. It's just fantastic, because everything now is in one. Everything can now be a unified story told across 1, 2, 3, 4 games. How can you not be excited? How can you not love that or be excited about that? But go ahead, Bart.
And when it comes to the integrate itself, here's a quote from Nomura in the interview of Famitsu. He was like, this is a quote from Nomura: Final Fantasy VII Remake integrate is the word integrate has the meaning of being a middle. It serves as the midway point between Final Fantasy VII Remake and the next installment. It also means to move, which is a nod to moving on to a new PS5 system and the next installment. So a lot of people got upset that, Yuffie DLC is not a part of the PlayStation 4, which I can understand that anger, but they're trying to move on from the PlayStation 4, where I guess it's going to be a much easier process for them, because now that you're working on PS5, you just continue working on that one platform, and you can pump out content like, episode Yuffie, or the next installment can come faster.
Well, I think there's also an interview they can create, and sorry to cut you off again, but I think also it's because they also want to create a bigger world, because when you look at the end of Final Fantasy VII, now we're really getting into the open world aspect of what's going on, because in the original, being in Midgar, that was only like the first 2-3 hours of the game, and then the game really opened up, right? So seeing that this game is us leaving Midgar and moving on, we're really getting into that open world, Costa del Sol, and all those other areas. It's opening up. You're gonna want that PS5 power to really build this world in these towns and areas the way you really want. I'm gonna be honest, and this may sound very, everybody's favorite word on Twitter, anti-consumer, toxic. This may sound really messed up, but I wouldn't want this game to be made on PlayStation 4 either. Like as a fan, as a PlayStation fan, as a fan of Final Fantasy, I would be angry if this game was being cross-platform made, because you really are stopping that creative process of what they're trying to do. Build that world.
And they also said that it's going to be much faster for the next installment, because now they have the assets. And like I said, you perfectly correct what they're saying. It's like a lot of people complain with the PlayStation 4 version because the textures just look like, oh my God, look at the background. It's ruining my screenshot that I want to take because the door is not loading in. You know what I mean? Do we want that with the open world part with the next segment? You know what I mean? Where the PlayStation 5, they can take full advantage of it and create what we wanted from day one, rather than just, we got to sacrifice the environment, make the textures look bad just so you can get Cloud or Tifa to look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm excited, man. The DLC, like I said, is gonna look amazing. Get into play, because Yuffie, as popular as she is, there's a lot of people that played this game, the original game. They probably even got Yuffie. They probably even get Yuffie. You know what I mean? But now they're streamlining her like she's a vital part of the story now. She's not like an optional part. Like Vincent as well was an optional part, but they made a game for Vincent. That's why people was like, oh, let me go Vince, but Yuffie didn't get her own thing. Now she's getting her own little episode, which going to bring a lot of excitement for her.
Even Johnny, they made him a bigger part in the remake as opposed to the original.
Yeah, because he was just like a one sentence, type of dude. You know what I mean? But he's a much bigger. He's not a big part, but they flushed out the character a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited.
The comedic relief, you get what I mean?
What about this,
I'm
new guy that's coming with Yuffie, the new character?
Listen, I have my theories about this character, right? I don't think this character is going to be who we think he is. I personally think he's going to be the main bad guy outside of like Deep Ground and stuff like that, and Shinra, Deep Ground. But I feel like, I don't know, man. He gives off this little, he gives off this presence that he's not who he is. Like he had a pole arm. I think he has some ties with Sid. And I think he has not ties with Sid, but he got some ties with Shinra. But he is more so on Shinra's side rather than Wutai's side with Yuffie's affiliation. But I just feel like that's going to be the overall twist. Like, yo, you're going to be playing with this character. You're not going to control this character, by the way, in the DLC. He's going to be like a special guest character. You can control him within the command menu, but you're not going to control him in battle as far as like the action portions. But I just feel like, he's not who he is, what he says he is. He's a part of Avalanche, and I feel like he's a underground Shinra op. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a video like explaining, but for podcast reasons, I'm not going to go deep in.
Yeah, like I said, if this Bari could be talking about this till the end of time, that's how much of a fan he is, which I love. I love when he does his Final Fantasy VII news streams. They're always fun to listen to. Because even as a fan myself, I even pick up, like, he even explains things to me that I'm like, damn, I didn't even realize that. You're right. Like, and I'm a fan as well. So it's like, damn. So shout out to Bari. Shout out to that. Let's move on. So real quick, Anthem got canceled. Is anybody surprised here? Chandler, are you surprised? Are we surprised that Anthem got canceled?
No. I think it's for the best. It's sad. I think Anthem had a lot of potential, was really cool. I think there were passionate developers at BioWare. I think you saw my Twitter thread the other day where I was kind of talking about, mostly it was about Stadia and Amazon, basically saying that, like, games are made by passionate. Games are made through heart. Even when you look at massive games like Call of Duty, like, I've been to Treyarch, I've been to Infinity Ward, I've talked to these guys, and these guys, even at massive studios with massive publishers, these guys are guys that love what they're making, they care about what they're making, and they're throwing all their heart into making the best thing that they can, that they want to play, and that their community wants to play. So even if you've got a huge, massive game, it's made with passion.
Yeah.
But when you take something that's then made out of a business decision, like Stadia, like Amazon, or like you see when kind of the business of games gets pushed into the creativity side of it a little bit too much, and you start focusing on that, well, let's make a Destiny killer. Well, let's make a really good game, and then if it happens to be as good or better than Destiny, great. And I think that's what kind of ultimately got Anthem in the end, and BioWare just wasn't allowed to really lean into the creativity the way they wanted, because they were hamstrung by some of the restrictions and requirements that they had to do with it. I obviously don't know the full story inside of BioWare with everything, but sad but not surprising.
Yeah, and to kind of add on to that, shout out to Rebecca Smith at PlayStation Lifestyle, really good written article with the full quote from BioWare. And when you read what they say, they really do. It feels like they themselves are also disappointed that they couldn't get that redemption arc, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, we get this second chance. And this is me kind of speculating here. I also think from EA's perspective, right, putting this much manpower into, because a lot of work was needed to the game, and not necessarily like not cyberpunk levels of work in terms of bugs and all that stuff, because that's not really what was Anthem's problem. Yes, it had loading issues and glitches and things of that nature, but nothing of CD Projekt Red level, at least to me. But it was the content. It was the way the content was structured, the lack of content, the world and thing. Like, a lot of that stuff needed a lot of work, right? And I think from EA's perspective, looking at the manpower that would need to be dedicated to rebuilding Anthem next, we would really be getting something where it's like, to put this much manpower towards this and not charge. Like, because so for example, I bought Anthem at launch. I bought the Dawn of Anthem edition or whatever for like $80, right? Them redoing this game, was this just going to be a free update, right? Or were they going to like re-release the game and charge people $60 or $70? A lot of folks in this community they definitely weren't going to want to go for that. And I think EA seeing that and knowing EA and knowing that they definitely were going to charge, even if you did buy the game, you're going to pay for this, right? No, that just wasn't going to fly over with a lot of people. So I think that the bad PR, the bad press, all those different things, it just was like, look, just move on to Dragon Age, and like let's just don't fuck that up, okay? Let's move on from this. So it sucks, but I'm not surprised. You come out talking about Destiny killers and all this. It's like we were talking with Outriders. Outriders can be a good game and not necessarily be a Destiny killer. Anthem came out the gate talking that bullshit about Destiny killer, and I'm sitting there, and listen, I'm excited for the game. It looked good with the Cataclysm and all this other stuff. I was hyped. Like, ask Bari. I was really hyped for this game. In the beta, I already knew who I was going to be using. I was really excited for this game. But Destiny killer? Listen, I'm a Destiny fanboy. You understand? I know virtually everything about Destiny, inside and out. Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. You're not going out, like, when it comes to the Destiny knowledge, except for Chandler, because Chandler's a big Destiny fan too, right? And a couple other people. Like, things about Destiny I know, and when I'm looking at this, and I'm like, nah, this ain't no Destiny killer. This is no.
Ain't got to be no close. Destiny killer, but some people don't want to play. Like, some people don't want to play, that type of game in a first-person perspective. So having Anthem, there would have probably been a Destiny killer for a lot of people. Some people just playing Destiny because they're good at what they do, but they want a different perspective. But this Anthem news pissed me off, man, because I like the gameplay of Anthem, but I just didn't like everything that came with Anthem. The story sucked. The loading time sucked. The bugs sucked. The way how they did the open world and co-oping with random people sucked. The tethering to people sucked. But the gameplay and all that, amazing. And I really wanted them to do this Anthem next because I really wanted to go back into Anthem because I was excited for it. But hearing this disappointment, I'm not supporting BioWare. They can kiss my ass, man. I'm not supporting no Dragon Age. I'm not supporting nothing else. They can kiss my ass, bro. Real talk.
Oh God. Yeah. So that's Anthem. So guys, say bye to Anthem. It's now the Anthem that we have now will still exist in its right. But in terms of any updates and things like that, that remains to be seen. In terms of updates to the existing game and this Anthem next, that's not happening. Right. But then, there's a silver lining to this, guys. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Right. Seeing the fuck up that is Anthem, BioWare is Dragon Age won't have multiplayer and now will be a single player only thanks to Anthem's failure. Right.
We don't care.
And
I'm like Stephen A. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. We don't care.
Shout out to Rebecca Smith, PlayStation Lifestyle. She pumping out them articles, Chandler, man. Shout out to her, man.
Oh yeah, she's doing a great job.
Essentially, they say the game had previously. So essentially, it's this section here. So the game had previously been designed with a heavy multiplayer component. Live service games have been incredibly successful for EA, helping the publisher to grow exponentially since 2012. They have pushed for all games to include some form of component that would be monetized and keep players engaged after the game's release. This was true up until recently when BioWare's live service Anthem was considered a disappointment upon release and all development on the title was canceled yesterday. On the other hand, single-player title Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order broke multiple sales records and racked up more than 10 million unique players. Since then, there have been titles like Star Wars Squadrons that are not live service titles either. So, again, EA saw it with Star Wars success because Jedi Fallen Order was a really, really great game. It was buggy. It had its issues, there's a lot of bugs and things like that. It was very buggy in certain areas, but it was a really fun game. I really love it. And I'm a Star Wars fanboy, so whatever. But
that was an amazing game, man.
Yeah, I love that game. So the next Dragon Age title was in development for 2 years before EA decided to reboot the game to allow for its live service monetization. This is assumed to be the reason behind Mike Laidlaw's departure from BioWare after a tenure of 14 years. The game was eventually
they was about to kill Dragon Age right there, bro. That whole sentence tells me that they was about to destroy this franchise, Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Putting it as a live service, but you don't need to do that.
No, you don't. Every game doesn't need to be that. And I'm glad, as much as it sucks to see Anthem's failure, I'm actually happy that it failed because it let EA know that this type of stuff doesn't need to be in every single thing, right? Chandler, how you feel about this?
I mean, that's exactly the thing. Going back again to the business of games interfering with the creativity of games, and if you want to make a single player game, make a single player game. If you want to make a multiplayer game, make a multiplayer game. But you don't step into the realm of a studio like BioWare and say, hey, with what you're making, we need you to put this multiplayer component into it. We need you to, and I feel like that's really what happened with Anthem. They had a good idea. The concept of the story and the world was really interesting, but the execution was just really bad because they were forced to do this business side of the game and these microtransactions, and cosmetics and multiplayer and putting all this stuff in because it's what was popular in the moment. But again, what's popular in the moment isn't necessarily a trend, and it's about the game itself being good, not necessarily the component of the game being good. So, looking back at Destiny again, you have they have 7 years of curating that end game and fixing issues and having, complaints about things and adjusting things over time. You can't just step in and say, all right, well, we're going to make a looter shooter. You have to learn from it. So that's what gives me a little bit more confidence that games like the next Mass Effect, Dragon Age 4, more stuff like this coming from EA and BioWare is actually going to be good, because BioWare seems to have stepped in it a little bit and learned their lesson and stepped back and said, okay, we get it. We get people want this single player stuff. They want BioWare back to the former glory. And they want us to kind of step out of the creative process, deal with the business of games how you need to. I understand it. Games are a business. They still need to make money. They still need to be profitable. But at the same time, when you step all over the creativity, you're going to get massive, expensive failures like Anthem, because that can't have been a cheap, write-off for EA at that point. That's an expensive failure that they're just kind of flushing down the drain there. But it's a lesson learned at this point, so I'm hopeful.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Let's get through these real quick. So so real quick, Tony Hawk Pro Skater is coming to PS5 March 26th. It's gonna have 4K 60 frames per second. It's gonna have the bells and whistles. It's
that the better version, Persona.
What you mean?
PS5, the better version.
Yeah, I mean, it is 60 frames per second on PS4 as well, but PS5. So essentially, the PS5 enhancements that's all coming is 120 FPS at 1080p, native 4K 60 frames, SSD and immediacy, haptic feedback via the DualSense wireless controller, which that's going to be really cool. Like grinding on, the rails and stuff like that, feeling that in the controller is going to be really dope. Spatialized audio, high fidelity atmospherics, activities and game help, and cross-gen progression. So you're getting a lot. You're getting a lot here with this upgrade. It's a free upgrade for those that already own the game, and for those that do buy the game, you will be able to buy the PS5 version March 26th. So
this is going to be $70 too, or the 60?
a good question.
Only 50 actually.
50. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. 50. Which
Or it's a remaster.
Yeah, it's a remaster. Yeah. So next gen version March 26th. And real quick, I want to touch on this. We're gonna touch on Jim. Pause when I say this. We're gonna touch on Jim Ryan and the topics and what he talked about. But I just want to. I want to talk about real quick just his comments about strengthening Japanese licensees and strengthening the corporation within Japan. So essentially, he says, we're really happy with and proud of the PlayStation Studios titles released by our worldwide studios. Some have already been announced, and others are in wait to be announced in the future. Also, Sony Interactive Entertainment has strong ties with Japanese licensees. So going forward, we would like to continue to strengthen that corporation and develop titles made in Japan for PlayStation fans around the world, right? So he says that, right? Because this is kind of a two-part article, because I know in the outline I put two separate things, but it all kind of coincides. So Jim Ryan says that, right? Then what do we see? Boop, boop, Japan studio, bye-bye. Or as, the corporate term, reorganization, right? So essentially what's going to happen, their statement is, in an effort to further strengthen business operations, Sony Interactive Entertainment can confirm PlayStation Studios Japan Studio will be reorganized into a new organization on April 1st. Japan Studio will be recentered to Team Asobi, the creative team behind Astro's Playroom, allowing the team to focus on a single vision and build on the popularity of Astro's Playroom. In addition, the roles of external production, software localization, and IP management of Japan Studio titles will be concentrated within the global functions of PlayStation Studios. With this information, Chandler, I want to go to you first. What's your thoughts here? We're losing a studio, but we're also gaining. It seems like we're losing this studio with Japan Studio, but we're also gaining a stronger team with Team Asobi who can focus on building out. Because, Astral Playroom was a big hit. A lot of people love it. I love it. It's really fun. And I think them seeing that hype around that game, they want to capitalize off that and really build a full-fledged franchise off of this. How you feel about all this news?
I think it looks like a lot of bad optics, but at the same time, it all comes back to that business of games again. And if Japan Studio isn't really being all that profitable with, Japan Studio had a ton of quirky games. They were the games that weren't exactly going to be mainstream. They were really built for the Japanese market specifically, and then outside of that would capture the attention of the rest of the world a little bit. And there are people that absolutely love the kind of stuff that Japan Studio put out. I mean, looking all the way back, like Legend of Dragoon on the original PlayStation, that was a Japan Studio title.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the kind of goofy games, Loco Roco and stuff like that. They were the ones who did Knack as well. But at the end of the day, while I don't agree with the optics of it and the way that Sony's kind of going about phasing it out and trying to justify it and saying, oh, we still do support the Japanese market, but at the same time not really showing that in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously this is a business decision somewhere that they're saying like, okay, what's going on over here really isn't working for us. And so it's hard to say. Those weren't necessarily the games that I was super into either. So technically I'm partially to blame because I'm not the audience for that. I'm not the one buying that the games coming out of there in a big way.
I mean, Gravity Rush 1 and 2 were amazing games, right? I do think those games are very solid. and everyone
Yeah,
loves like Legend of Dragoon, right? But I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. They had some great hits and some things that they didn't support either, and they had the internal studios within, like again, Team Asobi. Obviously, they know they know what's doing well for them, and
Yeah.
people love
Mm-hmm.
Astrobot,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're restructuring and focusing around that. And then, like the other article says, they're um, reassuring support around the licensees and Japanese game licensees. So it's less about internal development of kind of unique or Japanese developers to do things while supporting them in development. So maybe that's a good thing. It's something that impact of for another few years at least, and really see how this plays out for them. But
Yeah.
sad to see, especially because Japan Studio was more or less like the original first party PlayStation studio, and now they're not gone, but reorganized, like you said, air quotes, putting those up,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and more or less not the same glory that they once were.
Yeah. Yeah. Bari, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts is that this is good news. This is the best news that we can get from a studio that people don't support. What we would rather have, the studio closed down officially, or you just restructure your focus on what you want to, put out there.
Oh no, no,
It's
I agree, 100.
it's
percent
clear as day what's going on here. Like I love Japan Studios. I've been preaching to people about NAC. Gravity Rush games is good, even though 2 I need to go and finish and complete that. Uh, Team Asobi been doing great with the Astrobot stuff. That is working for them. That is they're actually being very lucrative when it comes to the Astrobot series and what it's doing for VR and with a PS5 free game here. I personally feel that studios, they're very unique. Games like The Last Guardian. Everybody cried and wampered about the game. Oh my god, I can't believe it's finally getting a release date. Oh my god, we've been waiting for this for 8 years. The game came out, nobody bought it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but then
Mm-hmm.
when the studio is restructuring, it's sad news. Sony don't support the Japanese. They actually doing this is better than I thought, because games like that didn't get supported, like Rigs and all that stuff from Gorilla Cambridge, they shut that joint down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They said
Yeah.
nope, shut down. Here they're actually restructuring. So it's kind of like it's not great news, but it's not the worst scenario
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
getting. You see a lot of people leaving from Japan studios, because they probably don't agree with the restructuring, because they probably want to focus on the games that they want to make. So there's a conflict there, which is understandable, but the studio itself is not closing down. And as far as the IPs are, like, what they said, we're focusing on Japan
They're focused
Licensees, yeah.
licensing.
licensees. Yeah,
I mean, that's
licensees. Meaning that
that
the licenses that exist under that umbrella will still, they'll put
yeah.
focus on that and distribute that within their worldwide studio. So meaning if we do see a Gravity Rush 3, we can see it from Insomniac, or we
From
can
a
see it
different
from
studio. Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
anybody. Yeah, yeah.
Which is, like I said, it's the best case scenario in the bad news that we're getting. Like I said, they could have easily just said, "Oh, we're closing down the studio, we're canceling these projects," but now they're distributing it as far as, okay, we can still keep this IP alive, but it's not going to be made here in the studio. It's probably made by somebody else within the worldwide studios.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad news to me. When I heard Gorilla Cambridge went down and there's no more Rigs coming, which Rigs, I love that game.
Yeah, Riggs was
That was
really
bad
fun.
news for me. This, like I said, it's not the greatest of news, but it's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
And for a studio that people don't really support like that, let's
I was
just
gonna
keep
say,
it a buck.
yeah, I was gonna say, man, like, to go down that realm, because the door is open. These games weren't gonna get supported. A lot of people weren't gravitating towards these games. They weren't especially Gravity Rush, right? Gravity Rush 2, it's criminal how many people didn't support that game, because when you play Gravity Rush 1 and then you play Gravity Rush 2, and Gravity Rush 2 was built
It's a big
specifically on
upgrade.
the PlayStation 4, right? A huge upgrade. The world is so beautiful. The story is really dope. Like that game really deserves a lot more shine than what it got, right? And it sucks to see games like that not really get, I don't want to say mainstream appeal, but just a little bit more appeal within its audience, right? And I'm not sure what I'm not sure. And it's funny because Gravity Rush actually did right what I wish Destruction All Stars would do, because you could dress up as B2 from Near Automata. You can dress up as like all these special characters and things like that, like all these really quirky costumes that you could fly around in. That was just really really cool. I really did like that aspect of it as well. So I'm not sure why. And, Gravity Rush 2 is just one example, but I know a lot of people do love Bloodborne, right? I know a lot of people that love Legend of Dragoon, right? That is a series that, myself included, a lot of people have been asking for, and a lot of people assumed was going to be the game that was being made by Bluepoint before the PS5 release. People thought it was going to be Legend of Dragoon. I was hoping it would be as well. That would have been phenomenal, right? It sucks to see that stuff happen. That's business. It sounds messed up to say. I don't want to minimize it, but that's business. At least, like
people,
Bari said, we are still it's not like those IPs are now going to go in a vault and never be used again. PlayStation understands that a lot of those IPs, especially Bloodborne, have a lot of weight to them. And
yeah, like I said, bro, it's not like it's bad news that some of the games that people like here. I'm not saying that people in this chat is not supporting it. I'm just speaking general that if you look at the overall arcing theme here when it comes to the studio, a lot of the games don't really get major support. I'm not talking about you individually in the chat that's talking, you know what I mean? I'm talking overall in the PlayStation, umbrella, like Knack. People didn't buy that. Last Guardian, people didn't buy that. Gravity Rush, people didn't really buy that. The Patapon and all those local Roco, I don't really know about that. Shadow Colossus, that remake, people didn't really buy that. Legend of Dragoon is a great game, but it's more like a cult classic type of game. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these games people don't really buy outside of like, Bloodborne, they worked with From Software and that sold well, but look how far in between that is between the other games that they're pumping out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like,
I want to make
it's not the worst news here. It's not the bad news.
I want to correct myself. Be honest. Shout out to Amanda in the chat. She was like, B2? It's 2B. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's 2B, not B2. I don't know why I said.
They get it.
I don't know why I said
it right.
B2, 2B. I don't know. I get confused. Okay, I made a mistake, but yeah, it's 2B. To be continued.
He's thinking about the parking lot, Amanda. He's saying B2. His car is parked in B2.
All right, let's get into this topic because, oh my God, this topic is juicy. Like I said, Bari has been on a podcast tour all week. I know after this podcast, this man is done doing podcasts. You're not going to see this man do a podcast for at least another month. Like, he has been on a podcast tour this whole week talking about this.
I can't even get my list right. You know what I
mean? I've been talking about this all week on my channel, on the State of Play reactions, and I'm in the chat that Bari's in the podcast on talking about, like, and I said this on my last show. After What's Up PlayStation, I'm not talking about this anymore. But I want to talk about this today, and I'm glad, Chandler, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy because you can give us, me and Bari, we're not in the industry, right? We're not in these, closed door talks and things like that, like you would be more privy to, right? So when me and Bari talk about this stuff, we just look like, crazy radical fanboys would work, running around with like chickens with our heads cut off, right? Although, we really are coming at this from a very level-headed perspective, right? So, I want to start with you, and I want to open the floor with you. But let me set the stage for you, right? So, we know Jim Ryan did an interview with GQ, and he's confirmed, and like he did last year with the Horizon Zero Dawn stuff, but he reconfirmed that, more games will be coming to the PlayStation, to the PC, right? And he confirmed that one of the next games is going to be Days Gone. So he says, I think a few things have changed. We find ourselves now in early 2021 with our development studios and the games that they make in better shape than they've ever been before. Particularly from the latter half of the PlayStation 4 cycle, our studios made some wonderful, great games. There's an opportunity to expose those great games to a wider audience and recognize the economics of game development, which are not always straightforward. The cost of making games goes up with each cycle as the caliber of the IP has improved. Also, our ease of making it available on non-console owners has grown, so it's fairly straightforward decision for us. So then he follows up and he says, we've assess the exercise in two ways. First, in terms of the straightforward success of the activity of publishing the game on PC, people liked it and they bought it. We also looked at it through the lens of what the PlayStation community thought about it. There was no massive adverse reaction to it, so we will continue to take mission steps in this direction. Chandler, Mr. Wood, coming at this because you are a PlayStation fan as well, and
Absolutely.
you also are a journalist that have been privy, like I said, to a lot of industry back end workings, right? I want you to give us your perspective of this, of exclusives going to PC. I really want you to break this down for us in your own opinion from a journalistic and a PlayStation fan perspective. How do you view more and more PlayStation? Because he reassures that there's a slate of other PlayStation exclusives, also older exclusives going to PC. How do you view this shift with PlayStation from both a journalistic and a PlayStation fan perspective? You got the floor.
So I want to point out first that within that, the original quote about like a whole slate or a slew or whatever the quotes are of more PlayStation games coming to PC was not the quote itself from Jim Ryan, but actually just a line within the GQ article.
Okay.
So I noticed that because that's interesting, because a lot of sites have been running with that headline about slate of stuff coming to, and that's not necessarily what they said. That's what GQ said about it. So that's how they interpreted what he was saying. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there. I mean, they've been talking about PlayStation games coming to PC for a while now. To me, I don't see this as anything new. I don't see it as a sudden ramping up of a bunch more titles coming out. We didn't get an announcement of here's a ton of games that are coming out. They said, yeah, there are going to be more. And first up is Days Gone. I used to be that kind of. I mean, I've been a PlayStation fanboy my whole life, right? It's my bread and butter. It's my thing.
Yeah.
And I used to be that guy that was like, I loved my exclusives. I hated Xbox. I drew. I think I was in middle
I gotta
school.
give a round of applause for that one. Sorry, that sentence was just too good. Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
Right, I was in middle school, like drawing hate pictures about Xbox, because it was like this rivalry with friends in school who had their Xbox, and I had my PS2, and it was, it was like it was the whole thing. And I feel like
as you should.
I mean, I'm still a hardcore PlayStation guy. I've got the Switch, but I don't have an Xbox. I don't see a reason, a need to buy it. There's nothing on the platform that really speaks to me, and I like my trophies, right? So multi-platform games, I'm gonna keep going with my trophy lists and everything. That being said, I'm a little less. I see a definite value in having console exclusives. And I don't think that those will ever stop. I see a lot of fear that this is going to lead to eventually like, oh, God of War Ragnarok, day and date, PC and PS5, all at the same time. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's what's ever going to happen. When I really look at it objectively from from like the journalist standpoint and from looking at it from Sony's perspective and everything, taking a game like Days Gone, which it came out. I loved Days Gone. I thought it was an amazing game. I thought Ben Studio did a great job with it. I see why people didn't really like it, but I thought it was fantastic. And I love that it's getting a second opportunity to kind of shine and for people to come out and talk about it again, to kind of be put out there, and hit a new audience, and potentially put even more money in Ben Studio's pocket to make whatever they're going to make next. And yeah, my perspective on it is, people that were so let's say hypothetically every single PlayStation exclusive game is going to come to PC at some point. I don't think that's going to be the case, but let's just say hypothetically that's actually what it turns out to be. Anybody who's willing to wait 2 years to buy a PlayStation exclusive on PC rather than get the console and play it on the console was never going to buy it on the console and was never going to play it on the console in the first place. So I don't think that's convincing people otherwise. I don't think it's this thing that's going to consoles. Kind of the same thing with the Final Fantasy remake, 7 remake on PS5 thing. The people that are mad about not getting it through PlayStation Plus on PS5. Well, they're the people who didn't buy it over the course of the last year when it was out anyway. So no, they were never going to PS5 straight up anyway. So that's a little bit of the same approach I take here.
Do you see
once we start?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I think my Discord hiccuped a little bit there. Go ahead.
Oh no. Continue your thoughts.
I don't see it being currently anyway, as it currently stands. I don't see it being this huge issue. I think it's good for the health of these games. It's good for the ongoing tale and conversation of these games. Like I said, again, Days Gone is going to get this whole new life out and around it. When Horizon came out for PC, that was amazing because suddenly you're seeing all this talk about Horizon that we hadn't seen for a couple of years, and people are talking about it again. People are excited about it again. People were actually, it also increased sales on the PlayStation platform. People were going back to play it on PlayStation and buy it there.
So let me ask you a question. This is a bit of a I don't think it's controversial, but it's definitely a question I want to ask you. Do you think that PlayStation fans that are kind of assuming the worst, right? Like, the time frame of when these games release as opposed to when they get to PC, that time frame's getting shorter, and they're assuming that it's going the same route as Xbox, and it's gonna devalue the brand, and it's eventually going to be day and date. A lot of people that are assuming the worst. Do you feel that those people are being unreasonable or overreacting?
I think it's worth voicing the concern.
Okay.
Definitely. I think it's worth putting out there that this isn't, even from my perspective, it isn't a thing where, I don't necessarily want to see God of War Ragnarok PC and PS5 day and date. I like the idea of console exclusives. If it were to come to PC and PS5 day and date together, I don't know that would necessarily be the complete end of the world, though.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I don't think it definitely wouldn't be the end of the world. Because I say this all the time. I'm a gamer first and a PlayStation fan second. You get what I mean? So it's like I'm gonna play games.
For sure.
Last question. Do you think that the PlayStation brand would be at the level that it is now if all their games were going to PC day and date in the beginning of its inception?
In the beginning, no. However, I think that now they can support it, and it actually strengthens the brand to a certain extent. It could. Again, all of this is hypothetical, and we don't ever know, because there's a lot of theoretically good ideas. If Xbox had better games that I really wanted to play, because Xbox games just tend not to be really my jam much. But I would love
They're
to.
not a lot of people's jams.
Yeah, they're a lot of people jam.
I like how you put that. They're not my jam. I'm gonna start using that. Like, it's just not my jam.
They're not the jam, the peanut butter. They're not the bread.
They're not even the plate.
My bad.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's for me. I don't think the kind of failures of Xbox have not been on the fact that their games have been PC and console day and date or anything like that. It's the fact that their games aren't all that enticing to me personally. And you look at something like God of War. God of War is a great game, and God of War is a great game whether it was PS4 exclusive or whether it came to PS4 and PC. And I have every bit of faith in God of War Ragnarok and Barlog doing that and everything. And I think it'll be a fantastic game whether it comes to both, and I don't think it will devalue the PlayStation brand. Now, I say that with the caveat that its brand to this point, a lot on those exclusives, a lot on being a console, a lot on being that dedicated console. I think my Discord's hiccuping a little bit again.
Yeah, you cut out just a little bit there.
Oh
no. You're cutting out a little bit there.
Discord's acting a little
funny.
Yeah. Okay, are we back?
Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
All right. Can't wait till I get this Google Fiber here. That's
yo, listen. I understand. Trust me.
But yeah, I think the branding is really strong to this point, and where we are currently. Again, I don't really like to look at far future hypotheticals, but at where we are currently, I think it's strong branding to be able to say Days Gone from PlayStation Studios on PC, and a person on PC loads that up and they see PlayStation Studios and it's right there. MLB The Show is going to Xbox. Of course, that's an agreement with MLB. They kind of have to do that full thing, but that's going to pop onto Xbox and it's going to pop up PlayStation Studios right on their screen, right? It's going to be a big deal there. So in a way, I think that's a little bit of a strengthening of the brand and seeding themselves into those other markets. And I think the diehard PlayStation fan base, people are still going to love the PlayStation console. The PlayStation 5 is selling bananas right now. Like, it is just going and going and going, and they can't keep them in stock. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon. The console itself being a dominant force. Now, revisit this conversation in 2-3 years and see where things are at then. Sure, absolutely. If we're combining that with kind of the way that Sony's been communicating things recently, kind of with their whispers of like, oh, here's PSVR, bye, and stuff.
Yeah.
That's some of the criticism that's coming to Sony too. Is not necessarily it's not just about this, games coming to PC. It's not just about the way they're communicating. It's kind of about everything combined a little bit. And I think that's what's frustrating a lot of people. And like, I see it. I definitely see it.
Yeah, no, I agree. You make a lot of good points. Let me get Bari those if I get my Bari. It's like your 8th time talking about. It's like your 8th time talking about this, man. This will be the last time, I promise. Bari, give us your thoughts on this whole week, man. Of just the PC, the day's gonna go on the PC. Jim Ryan's words and what he's saying, and just break it down for us with your thoughts, man.
It's a dumb move. It's not me personally. I get where Chandler's coming from, and like part of me do agree with it, but overall, I think it's gonna come out more bad than good, because When I think of the person that didn't buy a PlayStation to play a certain game, I'm not blaming the gamer per se. They might be stuck in their ways, but I blame PlayStation more so by not, taking the lengths to attract that person to buy their platform. You know what I mean? And the person that is seeing the games come to their platform, right? The lengths that they're taking is, oh, let's put the game on their platform so they can come into PlayStation. No, 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 no. If they are waiting, if they are waiting for a specific game, or they waited not to buy a PlayStation, and now a game came to the platform they prefer, they're just gonna wait for every other game. And I know a lot of people say, oh, but PlayStation is still gonna get the money there, but there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna even transfer over to, oh, they're putting their games here, because I personally believe it's not going to continually be this 3 years, 2 years down the line. There's no way they're going to continue doing that. They're going to see that, oh, let's test this here. Here's this game that's from PlayStation Studios, and we're going to put it on PC day one. You know what I mean? We're going to test the waters there, because it's a testing period right now. Eventually, I feel like it's going to be day and date. And like I've been telling everybody, I don't think that is the core PlayStation fan. I'm not saying that everybody's going to leave PlayStation and all that stuff. But there's going to be a lot of hardcore fans that leave as well. Because at the end of the day, you're going to lose out on things like your PlayStation Plus subscriptions. Not per se that's going to be the hardware sales. Yeah, people's going to buy PlayStation 5s or PlayStation 6, but the things that you brag about, those PlayStation Plus subscriptions, PSN monthly active users. Oh, what's going on in the PlayStation Store? Now, all of a sudden, you're putting your games on other platform that doesn't include those things. People are not looking at PlayStation and those things. People's not going to look at PlayStation Plus. They're not looking at PlayStation Store, where you're getting all your microtransaction purchases and all that stuff. They're not going to look at that, because they don't need to look at that, because the games that they want to play is not on your platform to feed them that type of information. So those numbers is going to dwindle. That's why I really personally feel, not the hardware sale per se, but those things is going to devalue the brand, because those things, as we seen with PlayStation, what don't get support gets what? We're looking at Japan Studios. Everybody's upset and everybody's mad, and oh, Japan Studios is crumbling. Oh my God. Yeah, they weren't being supported. Guess what happened? It changes over. So if the things that I'm saying, I'm not saying this is going to, I'm predicting what's going to happen. I'm just giving my opinion here. I think that those things like the services is going to dwindle. And once those things dwindle, yes, you're going to see a lot of changes happening where the service is going to be lessened now. Everybody brag about PlayStation Plus, but if those subscription numbers go down, isn't they going to keep on pumping in all these games to PlayStation Plus? No. The service itself is going to go down, making the brand itself go down. You know what I mean? That's my personal thinking with this, because at the end of the day, you're hitting all these milestones and all these record-breaking numbers, not because you're putting your game on PC. It's all these things is being done without PC gaming. It's the PlayStation.
I have to ask, do you think that Sony so aware of that and thinking that, and they're just trying to a little bit best of both worlds, and so maybe they won't go down that path of
you cut out a little bit, Chandler. Can you ask that question again?
There we go again.
Yeah, you cut out while you were asking the question. Can you ask that again?
Yeah, it's good old Comcast internet's just doing great for me. I'm just curious, like, if you think that Sony is maybe aware of that same thing, and so maybe they're just trying to get the best of both worlds, and they won't ever fully go down that path, and they know their strategies that they need to do to keep people on the PlayStation platform, keep people on PlayStation Plus, keep people subscribing and doing all those things by lengthening these out by years. And specifically, Jim Ryan did mention a whole slate of titles that came out at the latter portion of the PS4, which I think, again, is a good thing. You put out Days Gone, suddenly it's making more money for Bend Studio. Suddenly the conversation's coming back. People are like, oh yeah, Days Gone, that's a cool game. Just wondering, what are your thoughts on that, if Sony kind of maintains it where it's at right now going forward?
Yeah, I personally feel like how they have it right now is not going to be as detrimental right? But I'm looking at it more like the long term, the lead up. But having it right now, yeah, there's still going to be a lot of support with PlayStation, but it's still going to have you're going to have that inkling in people's brain that is not on the PlayStation platform that, oh, I might as well just wait it out 2 years so I can play their game. You know, what's the biggest joke that people come out and say when, you know, Days Gone gonna, oh, I don't have to have a PlayStation now to play this game, you know, even though they dogged this game for years, you know, upon years. You know what I mean? It's you start with one, what people's gonna think the other. So yeah, they're still gonna do great. I'm not negating that. There's people still gonna buy PlayStation, they're still gonna subscribe to Plus, but it's also gonna be that person that maybe they wanted to buy a PlayStation, but they're gonna hesitate now because, oh, if you started with this game, they're gonna probably do the next game. You know, there's a lot of people that probably want to buy a PlayStation for God of War, but it was like, oh, Horizon PC, oh, Days Gone PC. I'm just gonna hold off now on buying God of War, even though the game is years old. You know what I mean? Even though I can buy a PlayStation for $200 and buy the game for $15, I'm gonna hold off now and play on a preferred platform that I play on. My whole argument is just like, I really feel that if you go down this path, the things that you brag about in those those earning reports, you're not going to be bragging about it anytime longer, because eventually, yes, there's still going to be people that's going to support PlayStation, but it's going to dwindle down. You know what I mean? It's going to dwindle down, where the PlayStation Plus subscriptions, yes, is great right now, but if more games are going to PC, a lot of people is going to migrate to PC. I'm not saying every gamer, because everyone, I keep on having to repeat that. Everybody thinking when I say this, they think I'm thinking about every gamer is going to go to PC. No, it's not. But a majority of people a lot of people, not going to say a majority, a lot of people is going to transfer over. Like, yo, you know what? I'm going to dedicate myself just to getting a PC platform where I could play all the games on one platform. You know what I mean? And that hurts PlayStation, because, like I said, a lot of people don't think about business in this way, right? Why multi-plats is great, but exclusive is great as well. That person that might bought that PlayStation for a specific exclusive, they got into the PlayStation ecosystem, right? So that gives the potential of that person now where they can be scrolling on that PlayStation store one day and they just buy a random game on the PlayStation store. That benefits from PlayStation, even though this person is not a PlayStation, you know, preferred gamer, but now that exclusive game attracted you to the ecosystem. You're a part of it now, where you bought that theme, or you bought that indie game on the PlayStation platform. You know what I mean? Or you bought that DLC from a game that, you know, might be free to play, that you bought and play. You know, whatever reason that you bought someone PlayStation store, you bought it, right? But that exclusive attracted you. Now, if you take away that exclusive and you put on a platform that doesn't even have anything PlayStation, there's no PSN, there's no PlayStation store, how is that benefiting PlayStation? You know, yeah, you're going to get a sale because it's a PlayStation game, but you're missing out on the other things. You know what I mean? The subscription, the store purchases that you get digitally. You know, you're missing out on those things. That's where I look at. You know, a lot of people don't look at those aspects, but I look at the whole overall, you know, theme, what's going on here. Like, there's a lot of things that can hinder PlayStation by putting their games on platforms. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree. They're going to be like, "What are you talking about, Jay Bari? What, do you run $1 million company?" Yes, I do. But
yeah, a lot of people, he's not lying about that though. But go ahead.
Yeah, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't look at those aspects. They just look at it, oh, but PlayStation gets the money from the PlayStation game that's on the PC. But yeah, that game that they're playing on is not on PSN. It's just like the game that came, the Predator game, right? Predator game. I was excited for that game. They announced it's coming to PC as well. Guess what I did? I didn't buy the game. You know why? Because I'm not gonna buy this game on PlayStation while I have to have PlayStation Plus. While PC gamers buy the game and don't need PlayStation Plus, I'm not benefiting from that as a person that plays on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. The person that benefits more is the person that, you know, on PC that has the better version, that's playing on you know, free internet. You know what I mean? Or free service to play the game. You know what I mean? So,
well, and it's funny you touch on that, because that goes into a question that I've asked a number of times, where it's like, you know, as a PlayStation fan and being a fan since really the beginning, right? Well, I think I became like a fan, super fan in the PS2 era, but being that fan for so long and seeing PlayStation be built up to what it is now, I asked that question that, and again, we speaking of hypotheticals, there's nothing is absolute, right? But, seeing all these things go to PC and slowly, because it's not, the walls aren't broken down, but slowly seeing exclusives and things like that go to PC and seeing those walls slowly come down, what do PlayStation fans get in return, right? And, for a lot of people, that obvious answer is, oh, well, if this game sells well on PC, that's more money for the studio to create more games. Before that, before PC, games were being created anyway. Sequels and all this stuff. How many God of Wars do we have? How many Uncharted's? How many Last of Us? Like, games, good games that were being made that people bought, sequels were being made. So when people use that argument, I scratch my head because
there's more games.
but that's what I'm saying. But I'm like, I scratch my head because I wonder, well, then what about the last 4 generations of PlayStation, right? But when I ask that question in the sense of PlayStation fans have the best of all worlds. We got the cross-platform, the third party, and first party, right? It's everything. And first party games for PlayStation, let's be honest here, they're doing a lot better than a lot of third party developers when it comes to some of their games. And that's because of the focus, the passion, things like that. Chandler, you said it earlier, passion trumps all else because, if someone's passionate about a game and they're putting their all into it, that's what matters. That's what matters most because, you can see it through the game, right? I feel like with PlayStation, even though they're not going down this, and listen, and I want to make this clear, right? Although I disagree with this, and although we're speaking of it in this manner, it's like I said earlier, I'm a gamer first and a PlayStation fan second. The game's going to get bought and played, right? I'm not going anywhere so long as PlayStation continues to put me as a consumer first, as a PlayStation consumer first. As long as that happens, I'm here. The moment that doesn't happen, what's good here? Like, what are you doing? You get what I'm saying? I just don't want PlayStation fans that have helped bring PlayStation to where they're at to become second fiddle because you chasing the money or you chasing, I don't know if you guys ever seen South Park, but you remember the episode where Stan was playing that Chase the Dragon game and he had to keep shooting up heroin to keep seeing the dragon and get close. You know what I'm talking about, Chandler. Thank you. I don't want them to just keep chasing the dragon because you're gonna chase the dragon and never catch it, right? Because there's always money that's gonna, it's always gonna be money that needs to be made. Always money, like always. So a lot of these companies, I get it. You want to make money. You want to beat records and things like this. But PlayStation's been beating records for years, and I'm not saying remain complacent, right? But we can see that this past fiscal quarter, PlayStation broke records. They're forecasting this next fiscal quarter, they're going to break all the records they just broke. You get what I'm saying? You're chasing, and this is me being selfish because from a business perspective, you're going to always want to make more and more money, more and more money, more and more and more. So it's a bit of a hypocritical, or you can't look at it in a black and white. I'm looking at it from middle of the road, right? Look. PlayStation, as a fan, and I'm coming at this, as a fan, I just want to be put first. That's the best way I can put it, because I can go into great details about this and that and things like this, and I'm being unreasonable and all these different things. Look, I just want to be put first, right? Continue to be first, and that's it. As long as that happens, I'm good. But I agree with what Chandler's saying. I agree with what Bari is saying. At this point, we're going to have to just wait and see because, we don't have control over anything. Whatever happens, right? So if Days Gone comes out and it sells 1 million, I'm willing
the whole wait and see. I feel like people should speak their mind.
No. Speak your mind. No.
It's still, PlayStation, my man Jim Ryan has sat down here and lied to the whole community talking about he didn't see no adverse reaction. You are crazy. Why? You ain't see no adverse reaction. You are not on Twitter like the other execs were.
Well, you got to keep in mind, this is the same guy that said that they quote, are not hearing anything about the complaints about limited SSD storage space. And I go on Twitter almost daily now, and there's some other big games personality that's complaining about it. So yeah, agreed. Because he's not on Twitter. He's not there, on the ground floor speaking with the fans. Something I
He's not
dearly
seeing them
missed.
ats. Herman Hulst is seeing them ats because they be at Herman Hulst, threatening him and doing all this crazy shit. Yeah, Jim Ryan don't want to get... Yo, the moment Jim Ryan on Twitter, that man Twitter going to blow up because they going to be atting him like crazy. Like, hey, yo, Jim Ryan, what's good? Like, what you doing, man? He needs to get on Twitter, though. Like, and listen, I'm not saying he needs to interact with everybody, but he needs to at least... Because I even think with Herman Hulst, I don't think Herman Hulst controls his own Twitter. He probably got some intern that's seeing all that, and he's probably relaying the information. Who knows, right? But Jim Ryan needs to get on Twitter because he needs to see the fans that are in a disagreement about a lot of the stuff that's going on, right? Again, the storage situation, which they said that we can expect to see something, announcements about the storage upgrades in this summer, right? But in the meantime, there's a lot of people that don't have no space. So they got to delete games. Again, COD is at like almost 250 something semi gigs. Like, I'd be damned if COD is the only game that's going to be on my console because I got no other space. No, COD can take a back seat, right? This stuff about the PlayStation exclusives and saying that, you're not seeing any adverse reactions. Who are you listening to? Who are you watching? Who are you seeing? Because fans are vocal. And I'm not talking about the radicals that are threatening executives and all that weirdo stuff. Not at all. I'm talking about the people like all of us here that can have a civilized conversation, and we all may have a different point of view, but we can respectfully have the conversation and not, it turn into some craziness of, oh, you're not a real fan. None of that craziness. You get what I'm saying? He needs to see that. He needs to be on Twitter and see and understand that a lot of the community do not agree with it because they, with human, it's just with human nature. We assume the worst, especially after this year's pandemic. I'm not going to sit here, you have an example, which is, this isn't an Xbox show, but you have to look at Xbox in some degree with some of this stuff, right? Now, yes, Xbox games have notoriously not been as great as PlayStation's offerings through the generations. So, that's a bit of a conversation. But when you look at the route that Xbox has gone with what they've done, right, you see that the Xbox fan base, and I'm not talking about Microsoft fan, because people like to confuse the Xbox fan base and lump them in with, oh, it's a Microsoft fan base. No, it's not. The Xbox fan base is a second thought when it comes to the decisions that are made, right? With PlayStation and how Jim Ryan's moving in certain situations, it feels as if the PlayStation fans are a second thought or that are not considered in the actions of some of this stuff. And only time will tell. Not saying not to be vocal, Bari. Don't beat me up. Still be vocal. But time will tell if they're really listening to fans, right? Because to see people say, "Oh, it's just, it's old games, it's not the biggest," people are saying that, right? But then when the time frame gets shorter and shorter and shorter to where it's day and date, there's gonna be one of two reactions on Twitter. Oh, well, this is good for gamers, da-da-da-da. The other one's going to be like, oh, I saw this coming. This is messed up. It's going to be one of those two reactions, right?
Yeah. Oh, y'all right in the chat, too. They definitely not listening to the hardcore fans because they definitely listen to the casual. You see what's going on with Japan Studio. Hardcore fans saying, we love Japan Studio. We love these games, but y'all ain't buying them. The casuals ain't buying them. They going to change that shit around.
Yep.
Y'all keep sitting on your hands and like, oh, let me not be vocal about anything that I'm saying. We're going to continue to see this crap.
Yep.
It's like there's examples out there that can highlight both arguments. I'm not saying that both arguments. I'm not saying that whoever is agreeing with PC gaming and all that stuff. I'm not saying that you're wrong as well. I'm just sharing my opinion of why I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm bringing examples up. You're like, no, that's an example.
But yeah, man, this was a really good topic. Again, I'm glad Chandler was here to give his thoughts on it.
And what's funny is, you asked me to be on this show couple weeks ago before we even knew what this week was going to hold, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, listen, it's like I can see into the future. That's why I know about this day and date stuff. I can see into the future. Like, it was the perfect week. Like, wow, this week
Oh, yeah.
really,
We're
it
gonna
really
revisit for
fit.
sure.
Yeah, it really fit. So, like, I'm really glad that you could make this show, Chandler. I'm glad that you were able to give your thoughts on a lot of these topics and news this week, man. Um, Big shout out to you, man. Chandler, can you give us your outro, man? Let the people know where they can find you. Shout out your website and things like that.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Finch Strife, and yes, Strife is a reference to Cloud Strife, Final Fantasy VII.
Hey, yo, Bari just smiled ear to ear.
Yeah. That man, he's a man of culture. I know he's a
Oh,
man
yeah.
of culture.
And Finch is the band. Finch. Don't know if anybody actually listens to them. They broke up a while ago. They've broken up like 4 times now, but yeah, Finch Strife on Twitter, and then PlayStationLifestyle.net. We're doing our best over there. We're trying to keep up with it all. So yeah, I've got a great team of people over there doing awesome things, and we focus all on PlayStation all day long. So
Yeah, great website. Really hardworking people over there, man. They one thing I'll say about PlayStation Lifestyle, and I'm not just saying this because Chandler's here. They actually do good journalism. They take their time. They get the facts, and they do a good job of updating if things change or things like that. There's a good bunch of writers and journalists, and you run a good shop over there, man. So
I need y'all to up some of the review scores though, man. What's going on? No, I'm joking.
So yeah, man, shout out to Chandler, man. We really appreciate you being here, man. Thank you for taking time on a Saturday at that to be here. You are always welcome back, man. And yeah, man, shout out to Chandler, man. Shout out to Chandler. Bari, give us your outro, bro.
Yes,
Let
sir.
the people know what's going on.
Yeah, man. Great episode today, guys. Episode 27 in the books. Man, we are pumping out these episodes, man. Like the weekend feels like it's going fast or it's coming fast, and boom, right here on Saturday, another podcast, man. But yo, a lot of news this week. Persona can finally, you know what I mean? Finally,
I'm happy.
Persona in the chat.
Thanks, man.
But nah, man, great episode, man. Like, you know, it's cool that, you know, not everybody's going to share the same opinions, but we can just still have a good discussion about it.
Of course.
Regardless of anything, you know, I'm a PlayStation fan. You know, I'm just a PlayStation fan. You know,
Yeah.
always going to love PlayStation for all the memories that I have with PlayStation, regardless on what the future may entail. But yeah, I love PlayStation, man. And that's why we have this podcast, What's Up PlayStation Podcast. But yo, great episode, Persona, man.
Soon to be What's Up PC.
Yeah, slashing it /PC
/PC.
Yeah.
Yo, man.
Yo, make sure you guys. I got one more thing to say, and I'm gone. Make sure you guys, for those people, those weirdos that didn't buy Final Fantasy VII Remake, make sure you go and download that thing in March and play the game and give your opinions on the game. I know it's going to be great anyway. I know I can see into the future. But yo, play this game. I don't want to hear nobody having any excuse. Like, oh, I didn't play Final Fantasy VII Remake yet. No, man, go and play the game. Okay, play it.
Yeah. And
that's it. I'm gone.
Yo, man, listen. Shout out to my boy Bari, man. The other half of Wups. Next week gonna be a dry news week for Bari. Yo, PlayStation about to take a break. Well, listen, man, that news gonna be dry next week. I can't wait. Listen, shout out to Chandler. Like I said, follow him on Twitter. Really cool dude, man. Check out his website, PlayStationLifestyle.net. The links to all that stuff is in the description. For me, I am your host, Gaming with Persona. I appreciate all y'all coming through, man. And listen, man, I want to put this out there. As a PlayStation fan, I always want to see PlayStation succeed, right? Always. When things look a little iffy, I'm going to speak on it. We all going to speak on it, and we all going to have a difference of opinion. But at the same time, I definitely want to see PlayStation succeed. But certain things just look a little spooky. in my opinion. So, I'm going to speak on it. But I do appreciate y'all coming through. I even appreciate the lurkers, the ones typing in the chat, people that listen to this later, right? Even the naysayers, the ones that was just, arguing in the chat. Bari Persona, you don't know what you're talking about. We got some Chandler fans in the chat too, man. Chandler, you got fans in the chat, man. I seen Corey and Saber and them, man. You got some fans in the chat, man. They like your thoughts, man. So I can't wait to have you back again. You most definitely will be back in the future, Chandler.
Definitely.
And yeah, man. We appreciate you guys. For me, I'm gonna stream some Outriders gameplay later on tonight, and give my impressions and talk about certain things and really give visuals to what we were saying today in the show. So I'm gonna stream that later on tonight. Next week, I'm gonna be honest, man. I did like 6 podcasts this week, man. I streamed like every single night this week except for Friday. I'm tired. So I don't know if I'm gonna do a podcast this week. I do have an interview this week with J Main. Is that this week or next week? It might be this week or next week. I'll let you guys know on Twitter. J Main is my next interview guest. That's gonna be really good from Press Start Podcast. Can't wait to talk to him and get his thoughts on this gaming industry. And yeah, man, I appreciate y'all coming through. Please be safe. Enjoy your weekend. Have fun. It's raining. Play some games. Relax. Whatever you're gonna do. And we'll see you guys next Saturday. Same time, same place, same crew, which is the WUPS crew, Bari and Persona. And we appreciate you guys.